Hello, everyone out there, and welcome back to the Elite Racing Network here for the 2022 B Mrs. Goody's Grand National Series live from Homestead. Qualifying has about 2 minutes left here. We got Trevor Elam right now is the fast time. Tyler Pop, Latham Joyner, R.C. Anderson, and Ethan Stanley. Right now, as it sits, we have just a handful of races left here with the playoffs as well. We got Homestead, Iowa, Nashville Fairgrounds, and Daytona. So we're down to our final four here in the regular season. And joining me tonight in the booth, I have Robert Hill, who is with me every week for the Xfinity Series, and Dave Huckleberry, who is does everything for Elite Racing Network. The guy's awesome. Dave is helps keep all of us where we need to be. So as you see here on the screen, we have 200 laps. We have stages, 45, 45. Well, that's not. It's 45 and then what, 110?
Stages 45, another 45, and then 110 to the end, Chris.
All right, there we go. And six sets of tires, and then the pit window is going to be 50, 55 laps. But if we get some cautions, they'll be pitting for tires. This place chews them up. So, Robert, what are you looking to see here tonight at Homestead?
Yeah, Chris, I'm hoping to see some clean racing. That's something that we've been lacking recently across all series, and I think it'd be nice to have a clean race, long night, 200 laps, and I think we're gonna have to watch a couple key guys here that are currently set to qualify towards the front of the field. You can never count out guys like Tate Lytle, Tyler Fode, even Trevor Elam. He's been really strong in the races he's done. But David Schildhouse, that's one guy that's come around recently. He's been with us the past 2 weeks. He's finished first and second, Chris. So I think Schildhouse is going to be one to watch tonight. And they're in sixth place currently. Ethan Burrell making his return to the Grand National Series. He has a night off from work, so he thought he'd come and hang out with us, and that's going to be one to watch. But I think it's going to be an exciting night here.
Yeah, it's going to be a great night. It's like you said. Hopefully, there's not as many cautions as we had last week there in New Hampshire. 20 cautions is a little bit much, but we will see as we are getting ready to grid up here. So I want to give a shout out to all our sponsors here, everybody at Elite Racing Network, everything that Chad does, running all these different leagues here through the week, and then of course Dave, who helps oversee all of the Elite Racing Network. You, Robert, broadcasting these races with me every week. I want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors here, the Mrs. Goodies. Mrs. Goodies has hooded towels, handmade items for babies, kids, you, and your home, and you can look them up on Facebook today. TA Services. TA Services has been a trusted domestic and international full-service third-party logistics provider offering freight brokerage, managed transportation, warehousing, and fulfillment and cross-border logistics services to shippers around the globe. Blue Egg Marketing. They're the marketing department for small business. And Brixi Cam. Brixi is a venture-backed tech company based in Toronto and Boston, and they are on a mission to reimagine the group photo experience.
Well, Chris, we got a big grid here for this early heat race. We have Gerald Campbell and Brandon Ultra that are going to go around, give us a little 3-lap show. This is basically just due to the size of the field and how we have to make things work with iRacing systems. So we'll get a quick little preview of what we may be able to expect here tonight with these two. And let's, just for the heck of it, Chris, who do you think out of these two is going to take the win in this little 3-lapper?
Who do we have out here?
We got Gerald Campbell and Brandon Ultra.
Man, look at that Adam Petty scheme. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm taking Adam Petty. I'm going to take Brandon Ultra, even though Gerald, being our broadcast partner up here, is probably going to win it. But I'm going to pick that Adam Petty machine to win the thing.
Well, you know what? I think my pick has to be Gerald Campbell, mostly because there's nobody else left to pick. But let's go Gerald Campbell, as he has a nice lead early on in this thing, as he's put a nice little gap on Brandon Ultra. But in all seriousness, Chris, this should this should be interesting. Race Control has passed along the message. If Gerald loses, he has to retire from Elite forever. So watch for Gerald Campbell to announce his retirement if he does not win this race. Might as well take a little lap around here with Gerald. Just see what these guys might be expecting here tonight, Chris. As you can see, Gerald heading into turn number 3 here. Half lane up to
The
a full lane
45
now.
hit the wall a little bit.
Brandon Ultra, yeah, chasing him down here. White flag's out. Gerald Campbell. Gerald's slowing. Gerald has to retire. He just lost the race, Chris. My word. What a turn of events, Chris.
That was great. The way he just checked up there.
Taking a look at the starting grid for tonight's race. We have Tate Lytle on the pole alongside Tyler Fody there on the front row. Row number 2, we have Trevor Elam and David Schildhouse with Scott Crump rounding out the top 5. Ethan Burrell, Tyler Popp, Ethan Stanley, Latham Joyner, and Christopher Tate rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, they're talking about Gerald. Gerald is 2 starts away from 100 starts. That's 100 cup starts, apparently. That's what they were saying. That's a long time in Elite there, Robert, huh?
That is a long time. I hit 70 last night in Elite, so I've definitely not been around as long as Gerald, but they do quickly add up, that's for sure.
Out of those 70, how many do you think you were running at the end of?
I see a message from Race Control saying 12 finishes. I don't know if he's talking about me or Gerald, but I don't know. I do try to get to the end of pretty much all of my races here.
Man, you don't do a very good job. I mean, you wrecked me on Wednesday. That was terrible.
I mean, you kind of spun yourself, but that's okay. I think I still finished that one, Chris.
I did too, but not nearly as good as I was running there when we went down to 1.
That's for sure. David Westergreen appears to have had an incident here. Oh. Okay.
Oh, man. It might be time to retire this Taco Bell machine.
I think you refried those beans a bit, Chris.
Oh, man. He just spun the tires. And already, like, this place chews up tires.
Yeah,
that's tires.
One thing I do want to
he spun out again. I wonder if there's something going on here.
Yeah, he's had multiple spins there pretty early on. Well, actually, before we even got going green. But Chris, when we're coming to 1 to green here, I do believe. Why don't we go ahead and make some race picks here? We'll let you get started.
Oh, I don't know. I'll take Tyler Fody. One thing I do want to mention is Jake Adams runs full-time in the series, right?
Yes, Jacob Adams does run full-time. Does not appear to be here.
Yeah, I was going to make sure that he runs full-time in the series before I said what I'm about to say, but I want to say a big congratulations to Jacob Adams. Him and his girlfriend had a baby a couple days ago.
Ooh.
Everything's great. Everything's healthy. The baby was a little bit early. So everything's good, though. Everybody's healthy. So I just want to congratulate Jake on the baby and let him know that we miss him here, but bigger and better things going on right now in his life.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Jake Adams. Actually, just speaking of the Adams family, Josh Adams will be the lone car to start on pit road tonight in 42nd. So your pick to take the victory tonight was Tyler Fody. I'm going to go with the old man in the field, 37, Ethan Burrell. I think he's going to get it done in his return to the series. Pace car is about to make that left-hand turn.
Green is out. Tate gets away. And I am being told that Josh missed the grid. Total lack of awareness. Awareness 0 there for Josh Adams.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to impact the start of his night for sure. It's a long race. He'll have lots of time to work his way up through the field. But just the fact that he did miss that start, it's going to be a big setback.
Yeah, it's you don't want to miss a start, that's for sure. As we take a look here, Tate gets away. A nice clean start for him, getting away as Tyler Fody over Trevor. Taking a look through this field, we've got Chad Frankenfield sliding back a little bit.
Yeah, Chad running those ink numbers here, as you'll see on the side of his 15 machine. It is October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month here. So Chad doing his part to bring some awareness there, running in the 15th position.
15 car in the 15th position. I'm sure he doesn't want to finish there.
No, I definitely don't think that's the case. Just kind of glancing through, Trevor Elam now battling side by side with Tyler Fody.
Now, I did get a chance to talk to Tyler here before this race, and Tyler said he did not think he was going to be very good on the short run tonight, but he felt really good about their long run pace.
Tyler's usually pretty good on those long runs, Chris. He always knows kind of how to save his tires, especially better than I can. That's not really saying much, but Tyler Fody's definitely going to be one to watch on the long runs here tonight, like you mentioned.
Yeah, and something that we're not used to seeing as well is RC started back there outside the top 10, but he has quickly gotten up to 7th here.
Yeah, RC currently hunting down the number 20 machine of David Schildhaus. That would be for the 6th position here, but RC under a little bit of fire here by Ethan Stanley in the 92.
Yeah, and I had a chance to speak with Schildhaus before this race as well, and he said that he was out here trophy hunting. So that's all he's here for. He's not here for points, so we'll see if he takes a shot at going for this win later when he maybe gets a chance to get off cycle or run long or short pit. You know, when you're trophy hunting, you can take those chances.
Yeah, I mean, a guy like David Schildhaus, he has not been here all season long, so he's definitely not in that championship fight. Trevor Elam now to the top of the leaderboard with the pass on Tate Lytle just moments ago.
Yeah, I have to wonder if Trevor's maybe going pretty hard here to start.
Yeah, Trevor definitely one that's known to push a little bit harder, especially early on in these things. It'll be interesting to watch how his tires last throughout this race. As we mentioned earlier, there is only 6 sets of tires. That might seem like a lot, but in a 200 lap race at a place that really likes to shred them, that number goes down rather quickly.
Yeah, this is a place where if you run 5 laps, you want new tires.
Absolutely. As we take a look at Tyler Fody here, he's just continuing to drop a little bit early on. Like you mentioned, not really a short run car here. He's more looking forward to those long runs, and that's kind of how we know Tyler Fody. Josh Smith has wrecked on the front straight. He's down low. He's going to get that machine back going here. We'll take a quick look on the Whiskey Cast replay, see what happened to Josh Smith to bring out the yellow. You see him on the bottom of Johnny Thomas sliding up here.
It's tight. Got tight there.
Yeah, and you can see it starting to step out here. Yeah, there was no contact. It looked like the car just got really upset and around Josh went, but I believe he made the slightest of contact with the inside wall, but he should be able to continue on without too much issue there, back in the 42nd position. But back up front, no Trevor Elam.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, the more we can do to cut down on the yellows, the better it is for sure. Just taking a quick look at the guys that were in that little heat race we saw. Gerald Campbell currently up to 32nd, now battling Michael Klein for 31st, while Brandon Ultra finds himself back in 39th here. These are 2 of your favorite paint schemes, Chris. The 45 and the 66 battling each other for 39th.
Yeah, they need to gain about 38 more spots and race for first, I think.
Absolutely. We'll see if they can get there. It's a little bit further back. Tyler Popp and Ethan Stanley side by side here, just behind RC Anderson and ahead of Ethan Burrell. It was a nice little battle.
And don't be worried if you're watching and your favorite driver falls back some on the short run. This is a place that can widen out. You can run anywhere on this track, depending on the weather and the setup conditions. I didn't ask tonight about the multi-groove stuff, but I've seen these guys running high already, some of them. So if you give up some spots on the short run to save some tire, in about 15 laps, they're going to come back through and just blow the doors off of some of these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you've seen through our pictures here tonight, the multi-groove is definitely in play. You see guys running high, you see guys running low. Ethan Stanley a little bit sideways there, able to gather it up, and no harm done there. So good job by him catching that 92 machine.
Yeah, I say that this place is multi-groove, but everybody's kind of running the same lane. That tells me this track might not be as racy as we've seen it in the past.
Yeah, just kind of taking a look through the field. Christopher Tate, one of the first cars on that high side. Don't know that he has much choice there, as he is battling side by side with Connor Jones, and that is for the 15th position. Christopher Tate down 6 spots from the start of this thing. Again, like you mentioned, Chris, it could just be a matter of saving tires and trying to find his way back towards the front a little bit later on here. As we continue just to look through the field, we see Trey Holmes, and that is Jay Kaner in the 9, with Johnny Thomas, Garrison Hogan, and Kwame Scott right behind them. Nice little battle here.
Yeah, I am not sure, but I believe Kwame and Johnny are teammates, and I wonder what happened with Kwame there to qualify in the back. He's trying to work his way through it. We will see if he can.
I believe Kwame showed up a little bit later in practice, so he might not have gotten as comfortable with the setup as he wanted, and just kind of started towards the back to work his way up. But Kwame Scott's one of those guys that will definitely find his way towards the front as this thing goes on. Ooh, a little bit of contact there from Scott on Tate. Oh, he comes back at him again.
And that's going to put Tate on the outside of 3 wide when we get to 1.
R.C. Anderson on the bottom, 3 wide. David Schildhouse in the middle. Tate now
Schildhouse
back to
might have
2
gave
wide.
that up there and said, go ahead.
Yeah, Scott Crump using that bumper early on here tonight.
Yeah, I believe that they are having a discussion about what happened there.
Yeah, I could definitely see a discussion happening with Scott Crump. That's not too unique.
Yeah, I believe Scott said he checked up way early, and Tate said, "No, you just hit me."
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see the entire incident between those two. So something definitely could have happened a little bit earlier on to maybe upset Scott a little bit, but you know, as it's early, we'll have to wait and see what happens between these two guys as the night goes on.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see here if the high line will start working, if somebody can start running the fence.
I think if anyone is to run the fence at this point, I would look at a guy like Tate Lytle, who is known to try those different lines and try different things out. But early on, it just kind of looks like everyone's sort of running in the middle. We see Ethan Stanley on the high side again, but I think he's just trying to get something to work at this point, as you see him going to the bottom now around Latham Joyner for the 10th spot. But it's going to be interesting to see how the experimentation of those lines works throughout the night.
Yeah, it looks like the track is just a 1-lane track tonight so far.
Yeah,
we'll
nice little
maybe it'll change, but
nice little gaggle back here. Matthew Weeks side by side with Christopher Tate for 18th. A little bit further back than normal for Matthew Weeks here, but again, really early on in one of the longest races of our season at 200 laps here at Homestead. So we'll have to keep an eye on those guys. Sparks up ahead for sure here.
yeah, that 300 miles, you know, it's a long race.
Now, Chris, you've had the pleasure or displeasure of being in a few long races such as this. How do you typically approach a long race?
I love it when we run full distance races. Like I'm going to be one of the guys that if every race could be full distance, I would absolutely love that. I feel like they suit me better because you don't have to be up on the wheel. You don't have to be going 100%. Like you can work your way into it and figure out what does what. Like it takes a lot more patience. A lot. You got to be a lot smarter of a race car driver. I feel like in these longer races.
We got Christopher Tate coming down pit road here. Chris, saw him rapidly falling through the field. Now he's back just outside the top 40 now. Big drop early on for him. It'll be interesting to see if he continues on or if he's opted to take his car home for the evening. But yeah, Chris, like you mentioned, it's these are definitely tough races.
Yeah, it takes a lot more patience, a lot more, everything. Like this is full distance for the Xfinity guys. We've got a full distance race coming up in the Cup Series in a couple weeks, and it's at one of my favorite, if not my favorite racetrack. We're running 400 miles at the Brickyard. Can't wait to get there. Can't wait. I would, like I said, if we could run every race at 400 miles, I would love that. A lot of guys would hate it, and a lot of guys hate these longer races, but there's so much more. I feel like they're better. They're more fun to run because everybody's patient. Like, look at this. We had 20 cautions last week. Look at us right now. Everybody's being more patient. Everybody's using their head. Everybody's, it's a lot of fun to go out here and run a full distance race. What is your opinion on it? Do you prefer the full distance races or do you prefer the short races we typically have?
I mean, for me, it really depends on the type of track. If it's a short track, I'm all for it. These intermediate tracks, I tend to go through my tires a lot quicker, but working with the Pro Edge guys and in particular Trey Holmes, as you see him here in the 88, this guy has taught me how to save tires so much since I joined those guys in the last year, and I've started to enjoy these long distance races a lot more with his help and being able to save tires and do certain things. But it really depends, if we can run clean and have a nice clean race, then it's fantastic. If not, then it's just a miserable time for everybody.
And there's something to be said about not falling out of the seat, like being able to stay on your game for a full distance race, something you're going to sit there for 2.5, 3 hours. In the Cup races, you're talking 3-4 hours. There's something to be said about being able to have the endurance and the, whatnot, to be able to stay there, stay comfortable, and stay fast. A lot of guys can be fast at the start, but then they wear themselves out. I just feel like in a full distance race, you see a lot more of the type of racing that we all got into this for. Like we all got into this because we were NASCAR fans, and these short races is basically like starting the race in the last stage of these Cup races when it all goes crazy. Instead, we get to run the full distance, and it feels a lot more calm, like a lot more racy, a lot more fun.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like you mentioned, just having the ability to be able to make it throughout these races, it's a lot about the mental fatigue and the physical wear that it does take on you. I mean, yes, at the end of the day, this is virtual, but you're still working hard to keep your car under you and keep that focus to work your way throughout the field. And I think that's something a lot of people at home don't totally get until they take the opportunity to get behind the wheel of the virtual race car and really give this a shot themselves. It's I have the experience in real life of racing long races. I've done 100 lappers, I've done 200 lappers, racing on an oval, and that's definitely helped me out for sure. And I think it's fun. It's a unique experience that we get here in Elite. Not a lot of leagues run those full length races, but this guy right here, Chad Frankenfield, gives us the opportunity to do that, and so do our partners in the league. Our premier partners do a lot for us here and help us put on a show every week.
Yeah, and not even to mention, like, in these short races that we typically run, if you have a mistake that you lose 20 spots over, or 25 spots, like, you're not going to get that back without some kind of crazy pit call. But in these races that are full distance, you can get a speeding penalty or some kind of issue, and you can come back from that, as long as it happens early enough. So, and that's another thing. You got to be able to stay in it when you have something happen. You're not out of it.
Absolutely. And we've had people as part of our team and other teams that we've worked with Um, they've had a hard time dealing with some early on incidents in a race and really just shutting down, and that's something you really cannot do, especially in these long races. You have to keep focused, and you have to remember that it's a long night here as we see Tyler Fody looking to the inside of Scott Crump here for second place. This is going to get tight here off the corner.
Fody said he was a long run car. Well, we're about, I don't know, closing in on halfway or just past halfway through this run. Time to see if he can drive his car to the front. Scott's not going to give him a lot of room, though.
Yeah, Scott's one that's known really to race hard around these guys. We can see second through fifth right now, basically under a blanket here. Trevor Elam has about a 1.4 second lead over Scott Crump.
And you know what I noticed from that shot there that we were just looking at?
Yeah.
What happened to Shieldhouse? Did he burn his stuff up?
David Shieldhouse now is all the way back here in 11th, Chris. We were watching him not too long ago. He was just falling back on that high side. I think he may have worn through his stuff just a little bit here. As you can see, he's down 7 positions from the start of the race.
Oh, look at that thing sliding. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'd say he's hurt that right rear pretty good this run.
Yeah, taking a look, David Shieldhouse, his last lap was a 35.763. Let's compare that to Tyler Fody that we mentioned. Yeah, half a second quicker, 35.259 for Tyler Fody, and that is in a battle up here as well.
Yeah, so it looks like RC passed both of these guys now.
Yeah, RC Anderson putting on a show here. Once again, he's up 9 spots from the start, now in second position.
Yeah, so Fody's going to have to get around Scott here if he's as good on the long run as he thinks he is.
Okay, Lytle now looking on the high side here, trying to get around Tyler Fody. He should get a little bit of a run with that draft from Scott Crump. But
now, one thing I will say is
Fody's doing a good job.
If these cars get loose, like we saw at Shieldhouse, if you run up there where there's more banking, you get all the way up there by the wall, that should help the loose condition that they're facing. I just don't know if you want to be the first guy up there. I mean, if nobody else is doing it, it's hard to tell yourself to do it. But yeah, if you're getting loose, that more banking and being freer should drive better up on the top.
It's going to be interesting to see as the night goes on, the differing lane choices, as well as who's just comfortable on those older tires. As we can see Tyler Fody now dropping back to the 5th position. Ooh, that was close between himself and Tate Lytle. Actually, David Tooker out of nowhere joining the party.
All right, now they're back together, Lytle and Crump. Does anything happen?
I don't think so. I think Tate's a lot smarter than that. I don't think he's gonna come up here looking for any sort of a fight with Scott. He's just gonna want to get by him as quick as he can, knowing that it is a long race. He is there in the long season picture. He's just gonna do whatever he can to get by him cleanly.
Yeah, but we saw Tate upside down last week. We know he's frustrated.
We saw most of Pro Edge upside down last week, Chris. That was a rough race for those guys. As you can see, David Tooker trying to clear Tyler Fody here. Latham Joyner waiting in the wings just behind them as well.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Fody is quite as good on the long run as he thought.
Maybe he just means the really, really long run. Oh, Latham sending it around there. Just a quick update. David Shieldhouse now 16th position. He's down 12 spots and continuing to fall on those old tires. That is rough for Mr. Shieldhouse. And RC Anderson now in second place, has it below a second behind Trevor Elam there. So he's shaved off about 0.7 of a second from just a few laps ago. So RC is a man on a mission.
All right, I'm getting word that the reason we're not seeing these guys go run the high line is it's just the cars are too loose. Like you can't run up there with it; it's too tight. But apparently, you can't put the throttle down and commit to it the way you need to run up there by the fence.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting to hear as we watch here. Trevor Elam going by a lap car here. That is the 80 of Josh Smith, who we saw in the inside wall earlier. And Josh just grabbed a piece of the outside wall there. Now is RC Anderson looking by him as well. And just a quick note, we did miss it a moment ago. Tate Lytle did get by Scott Crump. So Tate Lytle to third, Scott Crump to fourth.
I'm going to tell you what, Shieldhouse
Ethan Stanley wrecks onto pit road.
Oh, that is not good. Doesn't look like any damage, so it looks like he'll be all right. Just, he's probably sitting there thinking, man, I hope the broadcast didn't catch that, but unfortunately we did.
Absolutely, we did. As you were mentioning here, Chris, David Schildhaus.
Yeah, he is struggling. He is.
Oh, Wyatt Canadle into the back of Johnny.
Yeah. Wyatt said, it's time to go, buddy. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see Schildhaus drop so much at this point, but you know,
and it looks like he might have been in the wall at some point as well. It looks like there might be some damage on that right side.
Take a look and oh yeah, you can see that right side, right rear mostly caved in a little bit on that Schildhaus machine. Wyatt Canadle now makes a move on him, and Trey Holmes coming as well.
So what he's thinking here is, I don't want to wreck this race car. I got to take care of it. He's burned his tires up. He knows, David's a pretty smart guy. He knows what he's done. He knows that it's a long race, and he knows that he's just got to get it through this first run.
Absolutely, but look what we got here, Chris. We have RC Anderson hunting down Trevor Elam. He is right there.
Yeah, and they've got about a 2-second gap on Tate. David Latham have also passed Scott Crump. Tyler Fode's trying to pass Scott Crump.
Tyler Fode has passed Scott Crump. RC now wanting to pass Trevor Elam.
Tells me Scott also has abused his tires. RC is up to second after starting 11th. Chookers started 12th. He's up to 4th. Blaze Brinkley started 16th. He's up to 8th.
Garrison Hogan started 39th. He's up to 12th. Wami Scott started 40th. He's up to 13th. So these guys are moving.
But then we got one big one that's moving the wrong way there. Well, a couple. We got Shieldhouse started 4th, and he's back to 26th.
RC Anderson side by side with Trevor Elam.
Can he make the pass? I think so.
New leader, RC Anderson.
But that's good for Trevor, I think. You know, he got out there, and it took him this long to get him.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely is a positive for Trevor. It's just going to be a matter of if he can maintain this gap now with RC and not just completely fall back into the hands of Tate Lytle and David Tucker back here. But it'll be interesting to see how Trevor maintains at this point in the race. We are only a handful of laps away from that pit cycle, so it'll be interesting to see how this works out. And again, if it does happen to be a green flag pit stop, Chris, we definitely got to pay attention for speeding penalties, bad pit entries or exits. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. So far, RC has gotten out front, and he's set sail. He's now 7/10 ahead of Trevor Elam.
Yeah, RC's gone. You asked about the pit window. I am talking to a crew chief right now, and they have about 15, 17 laps of fuel that they could run right now.
Okay. So we're definitely getting closer. We're definitely getting closer. Maybe a 3-stop strategy for these guys. Be interesting to see Chad Frankenfield now coming down pit road. Just taking a look here ahead of RC Anderson. There is some lap traffic. Looks like Cody Harrington and another unknown vehicle there just ahead of him. RC to the bottom makes that pass quite easily on these lap cars.
Are you not mentioning that driver? Is that what's going on there?
We cannot mention that driver, Chris. Chad now exiting pit road, 14.7 seconds stop. Keep an eye on that.
Well, I'm going to mention that driver. That driver is Casey Hatch, doing a great job in the Huck machine. Dave is with us tonight, so hopefully puts on a good show, takes care of it, makes it last. He's lost a lap, but it's all right. He can stay with it, keep working. Maybe a timely yellow at some point.
Absolutely. You really never know, especially with a long race like this. Anything can happen.
I mean, we could have a big wreck. Like, we could line up on a restart and wreck.
Definitely could, Chris. That's not out of the question by any means. But just continuing to look through the field, David Schildau's now down 24 positions. He's just been passed by Zach Evans. And just behind them now is Josh Adams, who's trying to work his way up from starting on pit road.
Yeah, Josh is only up to 29th, but starting on pit road, he's really done it. Oh, we've got the 88 is into the 34 spinner down here in 1. No caution yet. It's the 34.
Connor Jones. Looks like we will remain green as he has stayed on the apron here. Brandon Ultra has pit as well.
Yeah, it looks like there was some contact there between the 34 and the 88.
Yeah, we'll take a quick look here on the Whiskey Cast replay, see what happened with Connor Jones. As you can see, battling side by side with Trey Holmes. Ooh, looks like Trey just gets into the left rear of him, sends him around.
Well, Trey said that he chopped him, but yeah, it looks like Trey maybe sent it in there and couldn't make it either. Like, it's...
I'm a little surprised the yellow flag did not come out for that one, though, Chris. He was completely sideways in front of traffic.
Yeah, I agree. That was kind of a surprise to me as well.
Interesting there, but just a quick note. RC Anderson's lead now 2.1 seconds over Trevor Elam, who is now in the clutches of Tate Lytle there. Tate now third with a 2-second gap to Tucker.
I have a feeling we're about
Trevor
to see
gets really loose.
Some pit stops. I think we need to watch for some pit stops right in here somewhere.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Trevor Elam down pit road in the next few laps here. Gerald Campbell brings it down pit road here. Gerald was just inside the top 20. Hey, Lytle makes that pass on Trevor Elam. Now making a pass on the lap car of Harry.
Right,
nope, Tate's going to stay out. Trevor Elam in third, David Tucker fourth, Latham Joyner in fifth, Tyler Fody sixth, Blaze Brinkley seventh. That is Scott Crump in eighth. Kwame Scott up 31 spots in ninth. Garrison Hogan up 29 in 10th. And our next car down pit road is Jay Kaner. Note from race control, that incident there with Trey Holmes and Connor Jones was a racing incident. No action was taken, Chris. So just some hurt feelings, but no further action there. Jesse Rasmus has pit from the 12th position as we see him coming down now.
Yep, pit stops. And I think the reason we're seeing everybody go so far here, they don't want to get caught by this yellow. They were probably a little bit spooked when we had that wreck without a yellow, and so everybody got word of that, and so everybody's like, okay, well, we probably don't want a short pit. We don't want to get caught by the yellow.
Absolutely, as we continue to see guys driving past pit road as well. I think within the next 5 laps or so, you'll see most of this field come down for that pit stop.
One guy who did pit, and he pit a while ago, is Chad Frankenfield. He struggled, burned the tires off of it, went backwards. Now, this is a short-term game. If there is not a caution right after the cycle of stops, he is going to be regretting that in 40 or 50 laps.
Absolutely. David Westergreen down pit road now. Connor Jones joining him as well. So the pit cycle does continue, as you mentioned, Chris. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see Tyler Popp now pits from the 11th spot. So Tyler Popp, one of our highest ranked drivers so far to come down pit road.
Yeah, now that might force the hand of some other guys. I mean, the closer we get to the front of guys pitting, the more likely we are to see guys pit. But, man, it's hard to stay out here. Like, Chad Frankenfield is tearing through these guys on fresh tires.
Yeah, absolutely. Chad has done a nice job. Continues to charge here up to the 28th spot after his pit stop. He's the second car 1 lap down, it appears, just behind Vincent Isabella. Michael Hossack now down pit road as well. Another midfield car coming down. Trevor Elam, there we go. Trevor Elam down pit road. Blaze Brinkley as well. These two have hit pit road. That should start pushing this top 10. Here comes Ethan Burrell, Thomas Sherman, Matthew Weeks. Here we go, Chris. It's pit time.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy place.
I'd watch for guys like RC Anderson, Tate Lytle. RC looks like he may be getting ready to come down pit road. Here he comes. RC Anderson taking a pit road right now. Tate will stay out. Here comes David Tooker and Latham Joyner. They're both coming down. Tyler Fody stays out as well as Kwame Scott and Scott Crump. Garrison Hogan coming down pit road. Wyatt Canadle stays out as well as Michael Goodman. So this should shake up the field a little bit. Andrew Rucker has pit.
Yeah, we've got quite the amount of cars on pit road right now.
Absolutely. It's going to be interesting to watch them exiting pit road here, just to make sure that nobody speeds. You see that does appear to be RC Anderson leaving pit road.
Yeah,
and
so
a
far
nice battle, Latham Joyner
flags.
and Tyler Fody. Yeah, no black flags from what I've seen so far, Chris, but it'll be interesting to see if anyone comes back down within the next few laps. Justin Vandermeer and Richard Hines are pitting now from just outside the top 10. Hey Lytle, Tyler Fody, Kwame Scott, Scott Crump, Wyatt Canadle, Michael Goodman, Trey Holmes, Dustin Dewar, Johnny Thomas, and Josh Adams, your top 10 at this point. I think Tate may be a lap or two away from coming down pit road as Chad Frankenfield looks to unlap himself here.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what happens here.
Tyler Fody has come down pit road as well. Ooh, dealing with a little bit of traffic there. Just about made contact with Richard Hines. That right there could negatively impact Tyler Fody. Just want to point out David Schildhouse has come down pit road here. As well as Johnny Thomas. Tate Lytle is now coming down. That should hand over the lead to Kwame Scott. No, Kwame coming down pit road with Scott Crump. Your new leader should be Wyatt Canadle.
I think we're going to see a lot of these guys pit right here this time. Josh Adams is coming down. The 32's coming down. The 88's coming down.
Chris, it does appear the only car that has remained on track is this race leader right here of Wyatt Canadle. Everyone else does appear to have made their pit stop. So Wyatt is going to be dealing with some traffic if he does not pit within the next lap. And I think he may be coming down this time.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see who did what here with pit stops when everybody shuffles back around.
Wyatt Knadel now coming down. That should hand over the lead to RC Anderson with Chad Frankenfield in second here, Chris.
Yeah, so Chad, remember what we talked about? He pitted. Chad's been out here for probably what? I mean, do you have the numbers in front of you? At least what, 20, 25 laps?
Chad last pit on lap 43. So Chad is 13 laps older tires than RC Anderson. I believe that puts him at about 17 or 18 laps since his pit stop.
These guys are going to chew him up.
And actually, I just mentioned that Chad would have been second. In that time that we looked at his last pit stop, he's been passed by two guys in Jesse Rasmus and Trevor Elam.
Jesse was another one that pitted pretty early as well.
So Jesse actually only pit on lap 51 compared to Trevor's 55 and RC's 56. So Jesse, although about 5 laps older, is still much newer than Chad Frankenfield.
Yeah, Chad now, if there is not a caution here, like super quick, like we're talking in the next 10 laps, this is going to... If Chad has to run all the way through this run on tires this much older than everybody, he's going to be very disappointed and very upset.
Yeah, absolutely. As you see him now getting past...
Oh, we've got a wreck here on the backstretch. It's the 51.
51, Harrison Talon.
He's trying to sit there. There's no reason for it.
No.
There shouldn't be a yellow unless he brings one out. And he brought one out. Hey, I disagree with that. He could have got that thing going the right way. I don't know if he'll get a penalty or anything for it.
As you noticed right there, Tay Lytle kind of came down and took a little bit of a almost swipe at him, almost to say, like, what the heck are you doing? But we'll take a look on the Whiskey Cast replay of what happened to Harrison Talon to bring out the yellow flag. As you can see, Harrison Talon here on the high side in that number 51 DoorDash machine. It just sends it sideways here. Looks like just a solo spin, Chris, that did no damage. And the caution definitely could have been avoided had he just turned around on the apron rather than pull up onto the track. This moment right here. Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that may have been the moment that pulled out the caution, yes. But that's a break for Chad here, Chris.
Yeah, and Harry brought that out on purpose. You know, he didn't have to make it look too bad, but there's all kinds of room down there. He made sure to get up there on the track and not speed up and get the yellow. I just, you know, I hate seeing that. Like, there's no reason for the yellow right there. And it's not enough to penalize him, but it's enough where everybody who's driven one of these or is in this race, they know exactly what he did. And it just, we went green all that time for him to bring out a yellow because he spun out. Like, that's frustrating as a driver. That's super frustrating.
Absolutely. And as race control just pointed out here, that caution is on the 51 of Harrison Talon for self-spin, and a tally has been issued. So tally to the 51 of Harrison Talon. Chris, we're 65 laps into this thing. This is caution number 1. What a interesting start to this thing.
Yeah, it was a good race. We had a great race going until that happened, you know.
Yeah, definitely RC Anderson leading this thing. RC's been rather strong since the start, and now that he has a chance to start out front on fresh tires, it's going to be interesting to see how big of a lead he can put on these guys, or if Trevor Elam on new tires is able to stay with them or even pass them. RC did not pit since the pit cycle, but that was only just a few laps ago. But what is going to be interesting is everyone from 5th on back is on brand new tires.
Yeah, I think we've got RC stayed out, Trevor stayed out, Jesse Rasmus, David Tooker, Kwame Scott, Scott Crump, Justin Vandermeer, Dustin Dewar, Josh Adams.
Yeah, so it's 10th on back is on those fresh tires, not 5th. But some interesting names up here so far in this thing. I mean, Kwame Scott up 35 spots since the start. That's really impressive for him.
I have a question for you here.
Yeah.
Who has won what tires? I believe Josh Adams had just pitted. He's got like what, one hard lap on his tires. Is anybody else in that same boat that is up there?
So guys that pit, pretty much everyone from 10th on back, like we mentioned, pit on this caution. Prior to them, the newest tires would be Josh Adams, Dustin Dewar, Scott Crump, Kwame Scott.
How many laps are on Dustin's?
Justin Vandermeer?
Whoever has the second freshest tires up there besides Josh.
Oh, yeah. So it would be Josh, Kwame, Scott, and Dustin Dewar. They all pit on lap 59.
Okay, so I feel good about those guys maybe being able to hold their own. When you've only got one lap on your tires, and you get to cool them off here, I think they'll be okay.
Absolutely. And just before them, Justin Vandermeer pit just 2 laps prior to them. So still relatively fresh tires for the 54 machine. It's going to be interesting to see how some of these guys do.
I'm really
when it
worried
comes to the
about
restart.
Jesse Rasmus has, I think, quite a bit of laps on his compared to everybody. This is not good for Jesse. He probably should have pitted there.
Jesse.
Ready to go green.
Jesse's now 16 laps since his pit stop. RC Anderson will lead us to the green. Here's the pace car's about to pull off.
Yeah, Jesse's going to drop like a rock. RC has control. Green is out. Great jump there for RC. Not a great jump for the inside lane. Oh, we've got contact. Chad's around. Matthew Weeks is involved.
Oh, Richard Hines, Brandon Ultra. Caution is definitely out for that one. Take a look at the Whiskey Cast replay, see what happened.
It looks like they were trying to be 4 wide. Like, Chad maybe was...
It's like Tyler Fody just gets into the left rear Chad there.
Yeah, Chad said he was under the 56.
Matthew Weeks nowhere to go there.
And the 40 was under the 15.
Yeah, look at Brandon Ultra through this one, Chris. I don't know if you just saw him there. He was sideways. Let's actually go in car.
Tough break for Weeks there. Weeks gets heavy damage. The 45 gets pretty good damage. The 87.
Yeah, definitely some damaged cars, damaged egos early in this thing. With guys like Brandon Ultra, with damaged Chad Frankenfield, Matthew Weeks as well. Unfortunate for those guys here. And
you know who did a great job there too? Casey Hatch.
Yeah, did Casey make it through that relatively unscathed?
Yes, he did.
Let's take a look at old Casey.
But yeah, looking at that, that's just a bunch of guys trying to be beside a guy and take advantage of a guy. Like, I don't think they know that Josh basically had just came off pit road. And so Chad thought he was going to have way more grip than Josh. He really wasn't there. He was there about as far as Fody was on him. Like, nobody was really beside anybody. They were just going to try to dive into that corner. As we look at Casey there, missing the
Wow. Casey did a heck of a job avoiding that one. And while we were riding there with Casey Hatch, a tally has been issued to the 40 of Tyler Fody for that incident.
Yeah, that's just Fody trying to take advantage of Chad is trying to take advantage of Josh, and nobody was really there. Like, you're barely beside a guy. I think Chad could have cut Josh a break, and Fody could have cut Chad a break. You know, there's no reason to be 4 wide on lap 70. No reason when we still have 130 laps to go, and you're not even beside that guy. Like, I understand it's a race, but at the same time, you're just putting yourself in a spot to get wrecked going down in there like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely just tight racing. Unfortunate for sure, but it'd be interesting to see how these guys move forward, knowing that, you know, a little bit of a touch like that can send someone around and cause a big wreck.
I will say this: it has not been a good week in South Florida for Chad Frankenfield. He got wrecked out of the IndyCar race early. Now he's out of this race early. He'll be happy to get away from Homestead for a little while, I think.
Yeah, most definitely. There's just certain weeks where you're just done. You know, you've had bad luck and just can't shake it. You know, Chad's still sitting on pit road here, as well as Harrison's coming off pit road, but Matthew Weeks still down there.
Well,
Those
while
two
we have a
probably
minute,
done.
I want to take a second here and shout out all our sponsors here. Everybody at Elite Racing Network, Chad Frankenfield for the league he runs. This is the if you're just tuning in, this is the Mrs. Goodies Grand National Series. Mrs. Goodies has hooded towels and handmade items for babies, kids, you, and your home. Check them out on Facebook today. TA Services, for over 36 years, TA Services has been a trusted domestic and international full-service third-party logistics provider offering freight brokerage, managed transportation, warehousing, fulfillment, and cross-border logistics services to shippers around the globe. Blue Egg Marketing, small business owners, Blue Egg is your biggest fan. And Brixi Cam. Brixi is a venture-backed tech company based in Toronto and Boston, and they're on a mission to reimagine the group photo experience. None of this happens without our great sponsors, everybody who wants to take the time and put their company out here for us to talk about. We can't talk about them enough. Great partners.
Yeah, absolutely. We wouldn't be doing this without those guys, as you mentioned, Chris. It takes an army to put on a show like this, and we're definitely happy to have all those great partners with us as we get ready to go green here once again. We did see Chad Frankenfield come off pit road, so that's a good sign for him. He'll be able to continue on his pace cars off.
Yeah, and RC's on the bottom this time. Green is out. Will we see 3 and 4 wide again when we get down to the corner? We will. The 13 takes it 3 wide there. Oh, the 98 is sideways back in there somewhere. Great catch right in front of everybody.
Absolutely, as these guys are all over the place here, Chris.
Yeah, 3, 4. They're just running all over this place.
Garrison Hogan running the extreme high side there.
He does not get to the outside of Tate before they get to the corner exit, but he will give him a push down the front stretch. And you're going to see Josh Adams is going to move through these guys as well. He obviously had great speed there at the start, and his tires are basically the same as everybody who just got some.
Yeah, absolutely. Josh Adams on fairly new tires here, as himself and Tate Lytle will go to the bottom and pass the 54 of Justin Vandermeerl. Plays Brinkley to the bottom as well, so looks like we're about to be 3 wide.
Yeah, here we go. Where do you go if you're Fody? Looks like he's going to hesitate. Oh, they're going to get together right in front of Fody. The 54 is going to go up.
Nice job by Justin Vandermeerl to catch that, though.
Yeah, Justin, it looked like tried to come down and do a little pinch on him, and whew. That could have been bad. That could have been a mess.
That definitely could have been real bad here, as you see Garrison Hogan, Tyler Fody, and Ethan Burrell 3 wide here.
Yeah, it looks like Garrison has finally decided, hey, look, somebody can run the high line.
Yeah, and just behind him, you see Ethan Stanley doing the same. Ethan's tried that high line pretty much all night. It just hasn't totally paid off for him, but Maybe it'll work
And
this
as the
time.
sun goes down, the track should tighten up and pick up some grip. Maybe as it gets dark, the high line will work better.
Absolutely, as we see Kwame Scott here up in the 4th spot now. He started back in 40th. So heck of a drive by Kwame Scott here early on in this thing. I say early on, but we're approaching halfway at this point, so nice job by Kwame.
Yeah, Kwame's a really good racer. And what we are seeing here as well is Jesse Razimus is really struggling right now. As Tate gets around Josh Adams. Jesse's regretting being out here on 17 laps older tires than everybody else.
Lytle now on the outside of Jesse Rasmus here, making that pass on him for the 7th spot. Like you mentioned, Jesse really struggling with those older tires. Falling back now into the clutches of Josh Adams.
Yeah, the only thing he can do is make him go to the top, but if somebody gets a run and decides to go to the bottom, like it's not like you're not going to be able to defend it, I don't think. See how Josh is just able to hold a better line around the bottom.
Yeah, looks like Josh is going to make that move to the inside here. He will make that pass on Rasmus, and Blaze Brinkley looks to follow him through as well. Jesse Rasmus slowly dropping to the rear of the field on those just a few laps older tires.
Yeah, well, 17, I would say 17 is more than a few.
That's still a few.
I don't really understand why he didn't get there with most everybody pitting. It would have really helped his strategy, I feel like.
It definitely would have made sense. Look at Jay Kaner all the way up here in the wall.
There's David Shieldhouse and Gerald Campbell right in front of him.
David back in the 18th position.
Well, that's actually better than what he was before the pit stops. He was back to 25th, 26th, so...
Yeah, he's slowly working his way back up.
Yeah, he just wanted to go back there and pass some cars, I guess. I don't know.
Just here for some fun, trying to put on a show for his Twitch. See what those guys have to say about his run here tonight, but just kind of looking through the field here. Not too much side by side in the top 15.
And one thing I will say about David, and it's fun to win. Like, he's been on the podium these last couple weeks. It's great. But I think he has a whole different opinion tonight of this league than he had the last couple weeks. He hasn't seen this league at its best. He has seen a couple crash him up wreckfest and probably thought, oh man, I can come in and keep winning. But he's probably got a lot more respect for these guys tonight and seeing that, oh, you know what? These guys know how to race. It just, for whatever reason, it didn't happen the last couple weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's definitely nice to see a bit of a cleaner run for David to enjoy here tonight. And just speaking of David, you know, we saw this man right here, David Westergreen, have quite the experience on the opening pace lap, and he's been able to rebound quite nicely. He's up to 22nd there, 4 spots from his starting position, and he's slowly working his way up through the field. So
Fody with a big move to the inside of 3 wide as they're got jammed up there a little bit by Jesse Razimus.
Ethan Burrell will take that spot here. Oh, side-by-side contact between Dustin Dewar and Jesse Rasmus. As just behind them is David Shieldhouse and Thomas Sherman.
Yeah, and Jesse is just really strong, right? Every time he's getting past every corner, and he's like, "Man, I maybe should have came and got some tires. Like, this isn't working for me."
Yeah, I mean, taking a look at the lap times just around him here, Shieldhouse was 0.4 of a second quicker than Rasmus last time by. That's a big difference. As you can see, Jesse's really struggling at this point. he himself is going to have to be questioning his decision not to come down pit road and take tires when he had the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, I think Thomas Sherman thought about taking it 3 wide there and decided against it.
Yeah, as you see Sherman now in a battle of his own here with Gerald Campbell, things are getting close there. 3 wide is almost a guarantee at this point to happen with this group if they don't single file out. As you see Dustin Dewar make a little bit of a dicey move there to the bottom. These guys are just trying to get around that 70 machine here, Chris.
Yeah, and the 32 got around the 70 once, and then he got passed by somebody else, and the 70 was able to follow through. So now he's having to pass the 70 again. I mean, Jesse is driving for all he's worth, but you're not going to overcome that much fresher tires.
Yeah, no, it's definitely tough for sure. Taking a look back up front, RC Anderson continues to lead over Trevor Elam, Kwame Scott in third, David Tooker and Latham Joyner up there in the top 5.
Oh, contact! Gerald Campbell, the 32, the 70. They're wrecking here on the backstretch. The
hard
9
impact for Gerald.
Oh, the 30, the 83. Oh, we got a car in the catch fence. Oh, my goodness.
Chris, you're shouting more than I can even look at this point. Oh, no, Vincent Isabella. Oh! What in the world? Oh, no. Please tell me it was not Zach Evans that won the catch fence.
The catch fence car was...
Please tell me it was not. Okay. Let's take a quick look here on the Whiskey Cast replay, see what happened.
All right, so they get 3 wide here, and the 32, the 70's backing up. The 70's trying to fight. The 31 got up there.
Oh.
The 70 gets loose, catches the 32 in the right rear, comes down and catches the 31. Now, the 31's going to spin, collect the 9, but the 32 is where the action's going to be at this point. When the 32's wrecking up in front of this group. And you're going to see these guys just blast.
Oh, wow. Christopher Tate went out of the track.
I mean, and really, you should be checking up at that point. I think those guys that drove into him.
I'd like to go on board with Christopher Tate through that incident.
See, why are we still running full throttle here? Like
let's back up just a little further on this.
Yeah, people are checking up, and you're running this fast. Like, you kind of get what you deserve at that point if you're Christopher Tate. You know, if you're not going to check up when cars are wrecking, I mean, what outcome are you expecting?
I think there should be a tally issued on a couple cars in that incident. I mean, definitely the 30 for how he just drove through that. Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, you may not remember, but did we not have a similar incident last week with the 30 machine going through the incident like that?
30, but it was, I mean, we have had similar incidents in the past, and I just want to hit on this real quick here. Pit road was a busy place.
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty much everyone did come down, it looks like. And just a quick update from that incident, the 9 car of Jay Kaner and the 70 of Jesse Rasmus both receiving tallies on that incident.
But that's uncalled for on that 30 car, you know? Like, that's uncalled for. Yeah, you can't full throttle into a wreck like that. What are we doing? I mean, Vincent slowed down, but then Vincent went back to the throttle too. You know, Vincent's a teammate of mine, so I hate calling Vincent out, but he slowed down, and then the 30 passed him, and so he decided he was going to throttle back up as well. I mean, why are we not on the brakes? Why are we still running 150 plus right there?
Yeah, that was rough, Chris. I mean, you have to have more awareness than that when they're wrecking ahead of you. I know the yellow flag did not come out until later, but even if you're gonna try to pass some of those guys, you have to be aware of what's going on, and you have to check up.
Well, and I get what Vincent's thinking. The caution's not out. The 30's blowing my doors off.
Oh, for
So they're not
sure.
going to guess back up. But his initial reaction was right. And if he would have listened to his initial reaction, he'd still have a race car at this point. You know,
Definitely.
it's just like he reacted to what the 30 did, and it doesn't make it right. But what the 30 did was just, man, oh man. That's dumb, okay? Like, I'm just going to say it. That's just terrible racing. That's terrible. That's terrible.
That was a Chad ton of terrible from what I'm gathering there, Chris, but you're absolutely right. That uh, there's no
We're
excuse
smarter than
for
that.
that.
Everybody out there in this race is, I think, smarter than that. What that 30 did, that, I mean, that's a terrible, terrible deal. That it shouldn't have happened. Should not have happened.
Absolutely. And just quickly, like Chris mentioned earlier, pit road was a busy place. Everybody is now on the same strategy, with the exception of a couple lap cars that took the opportunity to get a wave by. So everyone is on the same pit strategy. At this point, pace cars off, RC Anderson and Kwame Scott.
Green is back out. Ooh, the 98 and the 40 had a little bumper tag there when the green came out. The 2 and the 03, Tate and Latham, they're doing a little blocking on each other as well.
As you see, just a little further back here. Ooh, Scott Crump gets a little bit loose there. Garrison Hogan to the back bumper of Tate Lytle. Ethan Burrell to the back bumper of Garrison Hogan.
Ooh, the 37 and the 13 are really close.
Things are getting close here, Chris.
Yeah, that they're gonna do it again. The net code, I would not be. Man, we've seen cars make contact being further apart. I don't know if I'd be chancing that net code from the 13.
Yeah, I'd be a
The
little bit
37's
more
gonna be
careful.
fine. Like, they're gonna make net code contact. That 37's gonna say, "Man, I didn't feel nothing." That 13's gonna be up in the fence with a ton of damage.
Yeah, absolutely. That was really tight. But just a little bit further up, RC continues to lead now over David Tooker, Kwame Scott, Trevor Elam, and Latham Joyner. I believe this under green would be the furthest back Trevor has been since the start of the race.
And Shieldhouse is trying to make his way back into the top 10 as well.
As he has just entered that top 10 now, passing Joshua Adams. Now he'll set his eyes on the 37 of Ethan Burrell. Things are getting close right there with Ethan Stanley on the inside of Tyler Popp. Tyler Popp is at all the action around him this evening.
Yeah, Tyler, he's really getting down close, trusting these guys a lot. I mean, he's putting his trust in every one of these guys.
Wow, as we just saw with that shot there was barely any space between the 13 and the 92. But yeah, I guess trust is nice, but oh my gosh. One of these times this is not going to work, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd be running that close to everybody. It makes me nervous every time he goes into a corner. Especially right here, because you don't know where that 56 is. You know he's down there, but you just turn in and you don't see him. It's a tough deal, but he didn't get as close. He probably didn't get as close because he couldn't see him.
Yeah, most likely. I mean, if you can't see somebody, you typically do not send it there, but it's interesting to see how some people think here.
But what I think is Shieldhouse has figured out his issues. 4 new tires.
Yeah,
Cures a lot of things.
I think tires were David Shieldhouse's issue, Chris, and if he can get a couple decent-sized runs and be able to save his tires a little bit, I think David Shieldhouse is going to slowly but surely work his way back towards that top 3 with David Tooker and RC Anderson. But
I mean,
so
and maybe
far,
there was a driver change too for Shieldhouse.
Yeah, you never know.
Maybe the owner jumped in the seat. Tommy Joe's in there racing now.
Yeah, maybe Tommy Joe hit up the old sim, and look at this battle here. Everybody, the top 4 under a blanket.
Yeah, we got RC, we got Tooker, we got Kwame, and we got
Trevor Elam.
Latham not far behind. New second place runner. Can Kwame go and get RC?
Kwame Scott, one of those really strong drivers. Trevor Elam now back up to 3rd, gets around David Tooker. Kwame Scott's a really strong driver, Chris. You know from seeing him in other leagues and whatnot that when he gets the opportunity to be out front, he's fast.
He's a teammate in Erskine. He's good friends with all of the guys that I'm friends with, you know, so he's a guy I've known for a long time, and yeah, he's a good little driver. But I will say this, you know, something that just dawned on me here at lap 100. We've done a terrible job tonight, Robert. We have missed each stage.
I think Trevor won a stage and RC won a stage. We may be wrong, and potentially RC could have won both, or maybe even Wyatt Canedo won one. I don't know. But we didn't do a very good job of that.
We totally missed that there, man.
One thing I can guarantee to you viewers at home, we will know who wins the final stage. Mark my words.
Yeah, we would remember these stages better if we did them every week. But when you only do them a couple times a year, it just totally left my mind. I can go back and look here real quick. Let me go back and see if I can't figure out who won these stages. So it looks like on lap 45, it looks like it is going to be RC that has won that stage.
Okay.
So we got that, right? Isn't that what you said, RC?
Yep, we got that one.
Lap 90 was under caution. So that's RC as well. So a stage sweep for RC.
Yeah, RC Anderson has been pretty strong, so that kind of works out.
So, breaking news, RC won both stages. Now he's trying to go for the clean sweep and get the race. But Kwame Scott is trying to say, look at me.
I think Kwame's going to be a bit of a pest for him here. I don't know if RC's too used to having somebody try to go toe-to-toe with him.
One thing I know is Kwame's going to give you everything he's got.
Absolutely, but you have to wonder if maybe giving him everything he's got at this point may wear through his tires a little bit more than needed.
Now let me tell you a little bit about something about the way Kwame thinks. He figures if he's racing you and he runs his tires off, you're running yours off too. So that's just his mentality. He loves to take care of tires, but if he's going to race for the lead, he's figuring you're going to use your stuff up just as much. So.
Oh, he definitely likes seeing people use their stuff up. That's for sure. I've seen that firsthand in Erskine where this guy races you so hard. Usually clean, but he'll race you so hard. And we're definitely seeing it here with RC Anderson where he's pushing him to his limits.
Yeah, and you know, you would think being a teammate with the guy and being good friends with the guy, you'd get all kinds of pointers and, you know, little things, you know, little tidbits to make me better or to make you better, but it doesn't. You know, Kwame, he keeps a lot of that to the vest there about what he's doing and what he's got going on.
Yeah, you know, sometimes these guys have to do that. They kind of want to keep stuff to themselves, and they'll help you a little bit here and there with certain things, but they're definitely not going to give you all their trade secrets.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. You know, it's still at least one pit stop to go. I think, can they make it on? Yeah, I think they can make it on one more stop.
Yeah, they should be able to make it on one more stop. Depending on if they push it out basically to the end of that fuel run. Just taking a look, some of our biggest movers so far in the race. Obviously, Kwame Scott up 38 positions from the start. Now finds himself in second here. Garrison Hogan back in the 8th position. He's up 31 spots. And then the next biggest mover so far in this race is actually the 71 machine of David Carpenter, up 16 positions to 21st. So some nice little gains throughout. Then we got guys like Johnny Thomas that are up 15, Richard Hines, Gerald Campbell, Michael Goodman, all up 14 spots. And the biggest drop through the field has unfortunately been Vincent Isabella, who does appear to be off the track now, 22 spots back in the number 35 position.
Yeah, we got a long ways to go, but look at these front four still right on top of each other.
Yeah, even Latham Joyner and Scott Crump are kind of rejoining that fight a little bit more. Hey, Lytle not too far behind them with Garrison Hogan, David Schildhouse back just a little bit, and then a couple tenths back to Ethan Burrell. But the second half of this race seems to be a lot closer than the first.
Yeah, and a lot of that is the guys with speed have found their way to the front too. You know,
For sure.
Anybody can put down a fast lap, but then in the race, you get the guys that are the best at the race, the best at that pace, and running what they need to in the race, and that's why, you know, we got such tight racing at the front right now.
Absolutely, as you see these guys basically nose to tail. Well, I guess you got a big nose and a big tail there for a second there, as Kwame and RC were about 2 tenths separated, but Kwame's just doing a really nice job.
Yeah, he's gonna sit there and he's gonna try to worry RC, force RC to drive a little harder. We'll see what happens with it.
And I do want to point out, lap time wise, RC Anderson, his quick lap at the race was a 33.64. The next closest was Kwame Scott with a 33.66. So these guys are running almost identical lap times. As you can see on the scoring tower there, those lap times are really close.
Yeah, it's going to be about the pit stop now. Yeah, if it stays green, it is going to be all about when you come to pit road and how you execute pit road.
Yeah, most definitely. It's going to be interesting to see how these guys do when it comes to that pit stop. We have a nice little battle here. Johnny Thomas, Ethan Stanley battling for 15th. Johnny Thomas will get the advantage this time, but yeah, throughout the field, a couple little battles, but for the most part, it seems to be single file.
Yeah, everybody's kind of gotten to where they are on pace. You know, we saw that shuffle happen during the first caution with guys pitting, guys staying out. Tyler Fody was the guy we saw at the front who's never really recovered from that. You know, he didn't get to go through the field. Like, you know, Tate's back up to 7th. I mean, he's not fully recovered. But, you know, Fody's still there where he was.
Yeah, Tyler's back all the way in 12th, which is, you know, 12th might seem great for some guys, but for Tyler Fody, that's a terrible day.
Well, and I'm not just saying because he's running 12th, but
no,
like,
of
we
course.
saw him running the top 6 or 8, and then now he just hasn't been able to move back through these guys like some of these other guys.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Cody has off days, I promise. There are days where he struggles.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to have a ton of those, Chris, but they definitely do happen.
Yeah,
Look
usually
at
when he
Kwame working that
struggles,
wheel, Chris.
He's got that switchy flips to turn on some of his hacks.
The
Make
grip
sun
hacks.
go away. Yeah, he makes the track 20 degrees cooler. Just for him.
I just love watching Kwame Scott work the steering wheel in this thing as he goes into the corners. You can see that the tires are starting to fall off a little bit. We do have Casey Hatch off track in the back of the field. He's road course
we've
racing?
got a yellow. I don't know what it is.
I don't believe it was Casey Hatch. So
Yeah,
I'm not sure where that caution came out, Because Casey appeared to be off the track. We'll take a look on the Whiskey Cast replay, see if we can find it. Definitely not Casey Hatch. If you find anything, Chris, just let me know. Maybe up here? No. Casey was completely off the... I don't know where that wreck came from.
The only thing I can think is that for some reason, the sim registered Casey more on the track than he was. Maybe.
From what I saw, Chris, he didn't look to be anywhere close to the track. I mean, the closest he got was when he came up near the pit road entry, but...
Yeah, he was just trying to get to pit road, so it's not like he did anything, but...
Taking a look at pit road here. RC Anderson wins the race off pit road. David took her second. Kwame Scott third. It's like Joyner came up to fourth and Trevor Lemon fifth. But I'll be interested in hearing what race control actually has to say on that as the reason for the yellow flag. Chris, do we know if that was thrown by the sim itself?
Yes, that was a sim caution. So the only thing I can figure is that if you look at the timing of the yellow, yeah, it had to be the 14. Yeah, they're agreeing with me in the sim.
No tally. Weird. That Chris, that is beyond weird to me.
Yeah, because he was well out of the way.
Just because that came out there, I want to pull this up once again. Let me just scroll back to the time of that yellow flag. Seems like so much has happened since. All right, let's take a look at Casey Hatch once again.
Yeah, and the caution's going to trigger. Not yet. The caution will not trigger. The caution's going to trigger right there. Boom. That's when the caution is triggered. I don't know. It's
now. So you say the caution was triggered right here.
Right there. Yep.
So I'm assuming iRacing is thinking that he's further up than he is, because he is sideways compared to traffic. He's nowhere near traffic. That weird.
Yeah. We could
definitely have to question that one.
Darlington at the inside of the back straightaway and not get a caution, but somebody's 50 yards off the track down in the middle of 3 and 4, and they're throwing a caution.
Yeah, I'm confused on that one. Let me tell you.
Well, sorry, Dave. I talked about Casey first tonight, even though it was about 70 laps ago.
That's that's crazy.
But
that's
like
all
you
right.
said,
That was a good amount of coverage. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we were trying to figure it out. Like, what happened? Was he the caution? I was looking all around the track, like trying to find another wreck. Like, I was thinking like you were, Robert, and like race control was. It took race control a long time to make it, an announcement on the caution as well. We're looking everywhere because it doesn't make any sense for anybody or to anybody about the 14 being the one that triggered that caution.
Yeah, that was... I still don't really know what to say about that. I've never seen anything like that. RC Anderson, David Tooker, the front row here. Latham Scott, Latham Joyner, Kwame Scott, second row. Pace cars off.
Yeah, and one thing here is RC took the top, Tooker's on the bottom. Good start for RC there.
Front two
Oh,
have
the 29
broken
gets
out.
sideways. Oh, the 20 then gets sideways. 40. Oh, we've got cars going everywhere on the backstretch. They're 4 wide, 3 wide, back to 4 wide. Oh my goodness, that was crazy.
That was a little nuts.
Shieldhouse was the big loser in all that.
Yeah, David Shieldhouse, definitely the big loser of all of that. Well, now he's battling side by side with David Westergreen for the 13th position. Right behind them, 3 wide, Johnny Thomas, Blaze Brinkley, Ethan Burrell. David Shieldhouse now to the back bumper of Tyler Fodio, Trey Holmes, sorry, in the 88 machine. Oh, Blaze Brinkley around.
Contact
Caution
the
should be
90
out.
The 98.
Ethan Burrell into Blaze Brinkley. Sends him around. We'll take a look on the Whiskey Cast replay. We did see that one live, but we'll take a look again.
Yeah, it looks like Ethan was thinking he was going to get to the outside of the 99, and the 98 was up there. And
Yeah, Ethan just kind of slid up the track a little bit into the side of Blaze. Blaze got the front and the rear end of that car into the wall. So, tough luck for Blaze Brinkley, as he'll find himself back in 25th at this point.
are you hearing race control right now?
No.
It took us a while, but the 30 is getting a penalty for what he did on the backstretch in that big wreck earlier.
Okay, so that is on the 30 machine of Christopher Tate. That comes back to that earlier incident that we took a walkthrough on. Pointed out that he didn't appear to make an effort to slow down for that wreck, so definitely you definitely got to be more aware than what we saw from that 30 machine.
Yeah, and that's a good call. It took us a long time to make it. Like something like that should have probably been called right away. But hey, you know what? It doesn't always happen quite as fast as you think it should. But it is well deserved, and I think that's a great call by race control.
Absolutely, and as you see from race control, or just saw on the screen there, the number 37 machine of Ethan Burrell was at fault, and a tally was issued for that incident, which we saw here on our Whiskey Cast replay. And again, another Whiskey Cast replay pointed out the number 30 machine, Christopher Tate, has now been issued a severe damage penalty for his role in the aftermath of one of our earlier cautions here around lap number 90.
Now, do you know what that entails? I have no idea what that
I
penalty
believe
is.
a severe damage penalty is about a 10-point penalty, Chris. I may be wrong. Typically, I don't get those. Typically, I'm out before I have a chance to take part in the aftermath of an incident, but I believe it is a 10-point penalty.
Okay. I was just wondering. I've not seen that called, and I didn't know what the...
Which I may be wrong on that, but that is what I do believe, and if that's the case, Christopher Tate in 41st wasn't getting a whole lot of points tonight anyways. He may end up leaving this race owing the Mrs. Goody's Grand National Series some points.
And Christopher Tate's already gone, so he might not even know that he got the penalty. We have... out of the race, finishing dead last is Andrew Rucker. Christopher Tate is 35 laps down. Well, what do we got going on? Did somebody just blow up under caution?
I do see Jesse Rasmus being passed by a few cars there. But no, he pit.
I swear I thought I just heard somebody blow up. Maybe not.
Could have been someone on pit road.
But anyway, back to what I was saying. Christopher Tate, like I said, is 35 laps down. Zach Evans, 40th. Dustin Dewar, 39th. Thomas Sherman, Vincent Isabella. Those guys are Is Vince still out here trying to run? I know he's 21 laps down. It looks like he is gone. Chad Frankenfield, 15 laps down, is still running. Josh Smith is gone. Matthew Weeks is still running 12 laps down. Casey Hatch is gone. Everybody else is still running. And everybody else but Brandon Ultra and Connor Jones are on the lead lap.
Yeah, so that is quite a few cars with issues early on. Well, I say early on. We're approaching 3/4 of the way through this thing. Lap 124 of 200 at this point now, with RC Anderson, David Tigger, Kwame Scott, Latham Joyner, Trevor Elam top 5. Still, those 5 have been very strong all night, and I think will continue to show their strength.
RC picking the top once again. That will put Latham behind him. I wonder if he's working against Kwame, because Kwame was able to hound him so well. Green is out. We saw the last restart, everybody get sideways and go a bunch of different places. Let's see what happens this one. Oh, we got the 29 way up the
Trevor
racetrack.
Elam falling back.
They get 3 wide there. Shieldhouse trying to come through the middle.
Look at that rear end of Tyler Fody. Ooh. That thing is quite dented.
Yeah, I think that happened earlier on a restart. Way earlier. I think it was the caution that split the strategies up.
I believe you're correct on that. Let's take a little bit further back of a look. I thought that was Trey Holmes running the wall. Not too sure who that is. Somebody was right up against that wall. But Trevor Elam, just to quickly point out, he is now in the clutches of David Westergreen and Ethan Burrell. Trevor's in 12th at this point, and he's been top 5 most of the night.
Yeah, struggling here with these restarts and whatnot.
It's definitely interesting. We have not seen that whatsoever from Trevor, as he's going to have to work his way back up through this field if he wants a shot at anything here. But right now, it's RC Anderson, David Tooker, and Kwame Scott, the top 3, with Latham Joyner and now Tate Lytle up in the top 5, with a little bit of a battle back here between Garrison Hogan and Scott Crump.
Yeah, it looks like Scott wants that spot. Garrison says, go ahead, buddy.
And look who's right behind them, Chris. That's David Shieldhouse.
Yep.
This is, it's gone from Shieldhouse to, he went from front of the house to the outhouse, and he's going back to the penthouse. David Shieldhouse on the move.
Yeah, we will see. I think his hope is that we don't go green to the end.
Yeah, if he can get a couple cautions before the end of this thing, give him a couple short runs, chance to have fresh tires there late in the race, I think you're going to see David Shieldhouse really strong, as he has been in his previous 2 starts in the league.
Yeah, I think he'll tell you, though, he had to work a little bit harder for this one.
Absolutely.
And those other ones.
Absolutely. You're totally correct on that one. Just kind of looking through the field, little side-by-side action here. Michael Hossack in the 42 on the outside of Wyatt Canadle in the 84. Those 2 battling for position number 20. Look at how high Hossack is getting here. Trying to get that run off the corner, but Wyatt will take advantage and be able to clear him there. That was
and Tyler Pop is trying to take a spot from Tyler Fody. We got the battle of the Tylers.
Yeah, that can't be Tyler Pop going for a pass. It's not 3 wide. He's a big fan of those 3 wides here, but yeah, Tyler Pop chasing Tyler Fody with Trevor Elam right behind them. Trevor Elam on the bottom. Ooh, that got a little close.
Trevor getting close to another car? No chance.
Yeah, even Trevor would have a comment on that one.
Hey, I love going to road course races, you know, and watching him and some other guys. They are the show a lot of times.
Trevor and Jeff Green typically get together on those road courses, battle it out. Just kind of taking a look through the field here. I think our best battle right now is Tyler Pop and Trevor Elam, but Ethan Burrell right behind them. He wants to get involved as well.
Yeah, he is running the fence down there.
Ethan now looking to the bottom of Tyler Pop here.
Oh, there's going to be contact.
Just about.
Is there going to be more contact?
They got so close there, Chris.
Trevor's going to go after Fody.
Trevor Elam now making the pass on Tyler Fody.
Oh,
Trying
Trevor.
to anyways.
Oh.
Trevor got loose.
So close to a wreck right here, and those 4 cars are right together. You got the 29, the 40, the 13, the 30. Those guys are running all together.
You know, even just ahead of them, the 56 and of Josh Adams, and right behind this group as well, the 99 of David Westergreen. So this group of 4 is just about to become 6, and they're going to make an interesting couple laps here for us.
37's going to go back up there, run up there on the little bit more banking, see if he can't finally make the path.
Absolutely. Trevor Elam does make that pass on Tyler Fody. Now it's a side-by-side. It was a side-by-side with Ethan Burrell and Tyler Pop. But they'll go back single file here now as R.C. Anderson does continue to lead over David Tooker and Kwame Scott. Latham Joyner, Tate Lytle right there in the top 5 with Scott Crump, Garrison Hogan now side-by-side with David Schildhaus. Schildhaus makes the pass, moves Garrison back to 8th. And we have Josh Adams and Trevor Elam now back into the top 10. Tyler Fody, Ethan Burrell, Tyler Pop, David Westergreen, Trey Holmes, the top 15 currently. Ethan Stanley, Johnny Thomas, Michael Goodman, Blaze Brinkley, and Wyatt Canado, the top 20. These guys are really not separated by a ton here at this point in the race, as actually we see David Tooker blinking right there.
Ethan Burrell is the first guy I've seen that has went in and ran the top, and he started running the top. He's committed to it in 1 and 2. And I thought maybe, or I wondered, if we got to full sunset, full nighttime, track tightens up a little bit, gain a little grip, if that would come in, and it looks like Ethan thinks that it's working for him. Still running the bottom down in 3 and 4, but he's been committed to that top side for the last handful of laps down in 1 and 2.
And he's getting pretty close to it as well.
Gonna go down there. He's gonna run up there again. Here we go. Oh, he can run higher. He's a full car.
Oh yeah, he's got another lane and a half above him there, but
yeah, he's running the middle right there. That's the middle.
yes, it's not high enough until he puts our camera through the wall.
Exactly. Yeah. There's tons of room up there.
Absolutely. As you look at these two here, David Tooker, Kwame Scott, these two are nose to tail battling it out.
Yeah, I mean, they're way behind our leader, RC. That's easily, what, 12 feet?
Yeah, that's probably about 12 feet. That's way too much. They gotta be negative space between them.
I think one thing we have noticed as this race has went on, those 3 cars on your screen right now are probably the 3 best cars here.
They are getting stronger and stronger as this night goes on.
And they were, already pretty strong. I mean, they didn't qualify well, all of them. We know what happened to Kwame in qualifying and not getting a great lap, or any lap for that matter.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right on that. As we just take a quick look on our scoring tower, we're going to switch over to the last lap time. Look at how close those times are with that top 10, Chris. Pretty much everyone running almost identical lap times.
Yeah, so the question then becomes, when do you pit? It's going to be 4 tires. The window opens in about, the window is is open right here. Like, it's opening right now as we speak. This is 60 to go.
Yeah,
Based on what I've seen, everybody was able to probably go about 60 laps.
I think it's definitely still a little bit too early to consider that pit stop, but you got to think these guys
If
pit
I'm
on
Shieldhouse-
115, Chris.
If I'm David Shieldhouse, I'm going to be on pit road at or before lap 150. I'm out here to win. I'm not going to win staying out here with these guys. I'm going to try to short pit them. I'm going to try to jump them and then hope that we catch a caution at 25 or 30 to go after everybody pits and force everybody back down pit road again, and then I'm in front of them. I would take that kind of gamble if I'm not racing for points and just trophy hunting. If you're racing for points, you've kind of got to go a little further. You can't afford to get caught by a yellow, but you know, if you're David Shieldhouse, if you just do what they do, you're gonna finish about where you're running. Take a gamble, do something different, and try to really I'd be on pit road in the next 5 laps if I'm Shieldhouse, and just hope that we catch a caution at some point after the stop cycle through.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what these guys opt to do when it does come to the pit stop. As you see just a little bit further back, nice side by side here with Johnny Thomas and Michael Goodman. They're chasing down David Westergreen, who's lost a few laps or a few positions here in the last couple of laps. So the tires are definitely starting to show their wear. Like you said, maybe we'll see Shieldhouse down in the next few laps.
Yeah, I don't know what we'll see here.
As you look here, we see Ethan Burrell now getting passed by Tyler Popp, who ran Ethan Burrell's line on the high side. So people are starting to pick up on what Ethan was doing, and they're trying it themselves, and it seems to be working for these guys.
Yeah, it's gonna be close though. I just don't know. Man, I love green flag stops, and I'm sitting here in my head thinking, if I'm in this car, this is what I'm doing. If I'm in that car, this is what I'm like. If I'm in a good points position, I even think about coming to pit road. You got the tires. You got 3 sets laying in the pits. Most everybody has 3 sets. Some guys might only have 2. But
even then, you still have multiple sets in the pits. Ethan Burrell down pit road.
there we go. I like the call.
That's our first taker.
It's hard to points race. But I will say this about Burrell. And he was 13th. I guess that's all right. Like, I was gonna say I thought he was a little further back than he was, but
well, Chris,
yeah,
he's here doing the same thing that David Shieldhouse is doing. He's here to win. He's not running for points. So if he can get off strategy and do something a little bit different, why not?
Yeah, I think
Josh Adams down pit road.
All right, here we go. See, I like this call. I like it. It's so hard to sit there and say I can stay out and run 10th or 8th or whatever. But I like this call because you're saying, look, I didn't come here to run 10th. I came here to win.
Yep.
And I think you just do what you do to win. You know, you do what you got to do. Make the pit calls. Put yourself in a position to try to win the thing.
You definitely got to do what you got to do to try to take the victory. But now seeing guys such as Ethan Burrell and Josh Adams that were up in that top 10 to 12 or so come down pit road, it's going to be interesting to see who follows. You know, do we see another car come down pit road here shortly?
Yeah, I don't know what.
Do we see Shieldhouse as the next car down pit road based off of the things that you had to say, Chris?
I think Shieldhouse has got to come pretty quick if he's going to play the strategy.
It'll definitely be interesting to see how quick he comes when it does come time to pit.
Ethan Burrell and Josh Adams, I believe, had an extra set over others. So that brought them down to 2. I think Shieldhouse pits only have 1 left. So maybe that's his thinking, is that he doesn't want to leave himself with 1 set in case the caution comes out too quick. But I mean, at this point, if you do this, if you play this card, a caution coming out quick kills you either way. It doesn't really matter. So I wouldn't let that stop me from playing the card of pitting right now.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right for sure. Ooh. That got a little close there between Scott Crump and Tate Lytle. Once again, definitely not the first time
Yeah, I
they've
was
been
gonna
together.
say, haven't we seen these guys do that a little bit earlier?
Yeah, I've been trying to jump back and forth to them a few times in this battle because they have gotten pretty close to a little bit of bumper tag.
So I got a question for you. How much better are Josh and Ethan's lap times right now over everybody else's?
Yeah, let's take a look. Ethan Burrell, last time by 33.871 compared to RC Anderson's 34.99. So that is about a 1.2 second difference. Scott Crump has come down pit road.
Yep, Scott Crump.
So yeah, it's about just over a second and a bit. Josh Adams last time 33.816 to David Tooker's 35.019. So yeah, about 1.2 second difference, Chris.
Now, Scott Crump hitting might bring everybody else.
I think you will see some of these guys down shortly. I don't know if they're going to come down yet. Garrison Hogan, Trevor Elam nose to tail here for position number 7. Tyler Fody not too far behind them. Just behind them is Ethan Burrell working his way back up, trying to get back onto the lead lap. So Ethan, pretty quick. There's Josh Adams as well. I believe that Scott Crump just behind them as well.
Yeah, and these guys that have just pitted, they're also racing for the lucky dog.
Absolutely, yeah. They're 27th, 28th, 29th. That's Burrell, Adams, and Crump trying to work their way back up and around the leaders. You see Ethan Burrell now coming up to the 6th place car of Shieldhouse. Gonna make that pass there. These guys are trying to make quick work. Try to work their way back up.
Yeah, I mean, Scott Crump pitted and is behind him. And he was running, what, 5th or 6th when he pitted?
Yeah, Scott Crump was about 6th. He's right here, though. He's right with them. But he is definitely behind them. Just kind of taking a look. I don't really see anybody appearing as if they're getting ready to come down pit road. Fody looked a little slow there. Jesse Rasmus, as I say that, does come down pit road from the mid-20s. He'll come down pit road.
Yeah, I think they've went far enough. They're going to cycle to the front. These 3 that we're watching, Ethan Burrell, Josh Adams, and Scott Crump, they are going to be 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. The question is, what is the gap? And they're all hoping for a quick caution after pit stops.
Trevor Elam down pit road, Chris.
Yeah, he was so far back, though, I mean, he was basically running behind Josh when Josh pitted, and now he's waited, so, like, he's going to be way behind them. I think everybody...
Latham Joyner down pit road.
Everybody has missed the boat on the working the short
Tyler
pitch
Fody,
strategy.
Ethan Stanley down pit road as well. David Westergreen. So we're having these top 10 guys coming down now. I will point out those 3 that we noted as pitting earlier have all come back onto the lead lap. Crump did just make a pass on RC Anderson and has unlapped himself.
And Crump has the freshest tires of the 3.
That's correct, yes.
Now RC has got to be seeing all that. Now sure he feels comfortable doing what he's doing. But at the same time, man, it's so tough. It's so tough when you see people get on pit road. And
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we're in the middle of a pit cycle, but we don't get to talk about this guy enough. I just want to give a quick shout out to Michael Goodman. He's up in the 8th position right now. Beautiful pink number 44 Mrs. Goodies machine there for Do Good Motorsports. What a nice livery on that thing, and always great seeing the pink cars out here for the month of October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I hope that Michael's able to get a good finish.
yeah, I mean, you're still in the game at this point. That's all you can ask for, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, just there's so much left. If a caution comes out now, it's going to change things. If a caution comes out after pits, like we're at the point now where no matter what happens, if there is another yellow, this place is going to get, the strategies are going to get flipped all over.
I will just quickly update on those 3 that pit earlier. Scott Crump has passed Ethan and Josh. He now finds himself up in the 18th position and running down Jake Kaner, who is coming down pit road now.
Yeah, I feel really good about Crump right here, being able to pit a little later than they did.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to have to keep our eye on Scott as the race progresses. Next up for him is the 51 of Harrison Talon in that DoorDash machine. So Scott Crump is going to be one to watch at the end of this thing. Richard Hines coming down from 15th. Laps to go, Chris. 40 to go.
And it's came down to a good old fashioned strategy race, and what happens. That's what it came down to.
Absolutely. Michael Goodman now entering pit road from the 11th position. He will he'll come down, make his stop. Michael Hossack coming down as well. It is Michael Squared coming down. RC Anderson now getting passed by a couple of lap cars. Latham Joyner going by, Trevor Elam as well. Just a note, Brandon Ultra did also make his pit stop. Tate Lytle coming down from 5th.
Now let's watch Tate here and see where he blends out, because that's going to be Tate was 2 seconds behind the leader. Let's see where Tate blends out and how far behind these guys he's going to be.
So as you see, Tate Lytle starting to make that move over to his pit box. Tate qualified towards the front here. He is P12 at the time of actually hitting his pit box.
Our first and second place cars are coming in.
RC, David Tooker, Kwame Scott, David Schildhouse coming down. So that will change things a little bit. Harrison Hogan now the leader.
Tate back? Let's see.
Tate Lytle is in the 22nd position, just passed by Ethan Stanley.
And he's going to be about a good chunk behind Josh Adams and Ethan Burrell.
Yeah, he definitely has a good chunk. Tate Lytle, as you can see, is in 3 and 4 right now, while Josh Adams looks to be going into turn 1. So big difference there. Scott Crump, I just want to point out, is up to 7th as we see Garrison Hogan coming down pit road. Tyler Popp now leads over Wyatt Canadle, Johnny Thomas, Dave Carpenter, Justin Vandermeer coming down pit road from 5th. So that'll move Scott Crump back up into the 5th position with Josh Adams and Ethan Burrell right behind him. Harrison Talon and Trevor Elam as well up in that top 10.
Yeah, so the caution, these guys have about 5 or 10 laps now that the leaders have pitted. I'm talking about Scott Crump, Josh Adams, Ethan Burrell. They've got about 5 or 10 laps, probably closer to 10 than 5. As long as, if there's a caution at lap 170 or in that neighborhood, then they are going to be able to jump these guys. Everybody's going to come back to pit road, and it's going to be perfect.
So as we saw with an earlier pit cycle, Wyatt Canadle has taken over the race lead. He now leads over Johnny Thomas. So I think we'll see Wyatt maybe do a few more laps here and then come down pit road, grab his tires, and then rejoin the field probably in the mid-20s, if not a lap down, depending on when he does come down pit road. Michael Goodman, as you see there in the background, he's working his way back through the top group, trying to get his way back onto the lead lap.
Yeah, now this usually is when we would see a caution, because you've got guys out there on really old tires, guys out there on brand new tires, and guys out there in the middle. So as you're catching guys, you're not exactly sure, you know. I mean, you have a good idea based on the kind of pace you catch them with and how fast you catch them. But you really just you don't know exactly who's on what strategy.
You're definitely seeing a big grab bag of strategy in this thing. I mean, you see why Canadal out there. He last pit on lap 121. The three guys directly behind him last pit on 115. And then it goes back to Scott Crump in 5th, last pit lap 150. So definitely a mixture of strategies towards the front. But there's a little bit of a gap. So if we do get a caution, that could put everyone coming back down pit road and change things up just a little bit here. But I don't know. These guys are running really well.
Yeah, but all it takes is one guy getting sideways or one guy making contact.
Absolutely. As we see a nice little 3-car group here. Josh Adams, Trevor Elam, and Latham Joyner. That is 6th through 8th. These guys are racing fairly hard to try to work their way back up there as well. And Kwame Scott, he was up in the top few, and he's back there in 11th with RC Anderson just ahead of him in 10th. And David Tooker in the 12th spot, but they are 12 seconds back, 15 seconds back, my apologies, of race leader Wyatt Canadal.
Yeah, but
who has yet to pit.
It's Scott Crump. That's who they're watching.
Absolutely. So they're about 8 seconds or so behind Crump. So that
And
early pit stop may have worked out for Scott. I don't know.
If it runs green, they'll get the
They should. They should for sure.
But you don't pit when they do, when those guys did, and think it's going to go green. You pit hoping to catch a caution at the right time.
Scott Crump now up to 4th position here, making the pass on Dave Carpenter. Dave Carpenter doing a nice job here. Obviously still yet to pit, but nice job by Scott Crump. He's killing it out there. See Chad Frankenfield
so right
moving
strategy.
back down. Absolutely. Strategy, always something fun to watch, something interesting. You know, it could totally change a race or might not really affect anything too much. But as you see here, Scott Crump up to 3rd and charging towards the front. If you're guys like Wyatt Canadal and Johnny Thomas here, knowing that Scott Crump isn't too far behind you, are you coming down pit road within the next couple laps here? I think Wyatt's coming down now, actually.
RC is going to pass Josh Adams right now, so that's one of the cars that he was hoping to jump.
Yeah, RC makes the pass on Adams up to 8th. Latham Joyner, Trevor Elam not too far ahead of them. Dave Carpenter still in 5th with Tyler Popp, Scott Crump, Johnny Thomas, and race leader Wyatt Canadal up in the lead.
Yeah, so if this stays green and we run through cycle of stops, it's going to be, what? Scott Crump, Trevor Elam, Latham Joyner, RC Enerson, Josh Adams, Kwame Scott, Tooker, Burrell, Lytle, Fody. Those guys have all pitted.
Correct, yeah. Trevor Elam now battling with Tyler Popp. Trevor up to 5th. Now about to pass David Carpenter for 4th. And now he's about to get stuck in a bit of lap traffic here.
Now this is where you could see a yellow. I mean, we've got all these guys just running right on top of each other.
Some of them not necessarily holding a lane either.
Yeah, and they're all like, I mean, this is the type of stuff that you see wrecks in.
Absolutely. Just a quick note, RC Anderson now, as you see him entering
Is
the
Chad
picture
blowing
here,
up? Is Chad Frankenfield blowing a motor?
I believe Chad may be blowing a motor here. Let's try to get eyes on Chad. No, Chad is blowing a motor, yeah. You can see that black smoke pouring out of that number 15 machine. Looks like it has kicked the tires, and Chad Frankenfield's day is just about done.
Now, we have seen cautions come out for this.
We saw that caution earlier with Casey Hatch. Wasn't even close to the track, but still brought out a yellow, so hopefully...
I think Chad's still running, though. I think it's blowed up.
Chad is running. He is definitely running. He's working his way back to the pit road there. Speaking of pit road, David Carpenter has pit, so he will continue that cycle. As you can see, we see Wyatt Canadle here on the inside of Matthew Weeks, but just behind him, Scott Crump. He's coming. Chad has made it to pit road. Just a quick update for those of you keeping score at home. A little bit further back, David Schildhouse just made a pass on Tyler Fody. Moved Schildhouse to 12th.
Is 3 wide right now. Or was 3 wide as they worked their way through traffic. So now he is the next car behind Scott Crump as far as position.
Yeah, so your top two once we cycle through will be Scott Crump and RC Anderson, as Wyatt Canadle still does have to come down pit road. His last pit stop, lap 121. And Scott is right behind him at this point. As you can see, you can cue the Jaws music. Scott is coming.
Yeah, but you can keep that Jaws music playing too, because Scott's going to see it in his mirror too.
And you can actually see it as we ride on the gearbox with Wyatt Canadle here. That white car behind, that is RC Anderson. Got Crump to the race lead.
Scott's wanting the yellow now. He's the leader, got control, and RC's not.
To be fair, I think more than just Scott's asking for that yellow right now. I think if you're this guy right here, the 84 Wyatt Canadle, you would love that yellow as well, because you'd be on the same strategy as those race leaders.
Oh yeah, and everybody
you'd be right back in it. Tyler Pop coming down.
Everybody who's short pitted would love the yellow as well.
Absolutely. Just watch RC here. He is motoring through this thing. See Wyatt Canadle not too far ahead of him. He's likely to pass Wyatt as if he's standing. It's
Oh man! The 84 called he was pitting.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, I was wondering when he followed him into the corner. I was like,
oh my gosh.
Just called out. That.
Johnny Thomas also came down pit road as well as Wyatt Canadle, but
that was wild. I guess RC was just in the zone, and he was like, "Hey," and RC was like, "I'm going to shadow you."
So it does look like the cycle has been completed here. Scott Crump currently leads RC Anderson, Wami Scott, David Tooker, Trevor Elam. That's the top 5. Tate Lytle, Latham Joyner, David Schildhouse, Tyler Fody, Josh Adams. That's top 10. So
when
these guys are.
Trevor just called out that he's going to be pitting.
Trevor Elam pit lap 154.
Okay, I don't think he's pitting again. Then I think he's joking with somebody. There's no way he would pit again. Yeah, maybe an accidental hit or something, but...
Yeah, he most likely hit that button by accident, but no, Trevor Elam likely not to pit again. As you can see, 20 laps to go. Scott Crump does currently lead, but just look at how quick RC Anderson's catching him in that rear view.
Yeah, we're going to have a race, but it's not going to be RC and Scott Crump. It's going to be RC and Kwame Scott. He's going to drive to the inside of Scott Crump. Scott's going to try to defend this as best he can, but I just don't know. There's just not a whole lot you can do if you're Scott at this point on this much older tires. Like, you'd love to race him and try to stay beside him, but I mean, RC's on way fresher tires.
RC passes him as if he was standing still. Now Scott Crump falling back into the grasp of Kwame Scott. Right behind them, David Tooker rejoining that battle. Then a little bit of a gap back to Tay Lytle as he's now getting passed by the lap car of White Canadal, our previous race leader, as he is now in the 22nd position, 1 lap down.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what will happen here if Kwame can get around. Oh, Kwame has, and so has Tooker.
I believe we just heard a call out from Harrison Talon coming down pit road in the 51. He is right near the leaders there. He will come down from the 21st position. Harrison was the last car on the lead lap.
Alrighty, so we have 0.6 of a second between RC and Kwame. That is the race at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely on between those two. But it will be interesting to see if Kwame can get him with enough time left to actually make that move.
And that's not... Tooker's only a second back as well.
Yeah, all these guys in the top 5 are fairly... actually, top 4 are within 2 seconds.
The top 3. Scott Crump isn't going to be a factor.
Yeah, at this point, Crump is on older tires for sure. But, you know, Kwame Scott, David Tooker, RC Anderson, of course, all these 3 do have a shot at the victory. If a caution comes out, could change everything, though.
And look out in front of RC. Just look out there and look at some of the traffic.
Yeah, you can see, I believe that is Justin Vandermeerl just ahead of him. And a handful of additional lapped cars. Not too far ahead, so this could get interesting. Looks like someone's in the wall, actually, not too far up ahead of RC.
And it looks like Kwame Scott is a little bit faster than our leader right now.
Kwame Scott does appear to be getting a little bit of draft, though, from that 84 of White Canadal.
Oh, that 84 is about to go past the 50. That's way fresher tires.
Yeah, we got definitely some fresh tires on White Canadal's car. As you can see here, he is getting passed.
Now, Kwame lost a little bit of time that lap because he got passed, but now RC got passed, and I think it's going to basically level it back out.
14 to go, coming to 13 this next time by. These guys, Chris, these guys have done a great job tonight all throughout the field. No matter how this thing ends, it's definitely a step in the right direction for the series. And I'm excited to actually now just taking a quick look. David Tooker running down Kwame Scott real quick here.
Yeah, these front 3 are pretty close, and that's the battle for the race, but they're going to have to close in a little bit on RC. RC kind of, he's pulled it back. It was done to about half a second. He's got it back up to 0.7.
But again, RC is coming up on a lot of lap traffic here. So that could change things just a little bit. Just a quick update in the top 10. David Shieldhouse has passed Trevor Elam up to 6th. These guys are battling hard here. But we got to keep focus on the front here as RC is about to enter a minefield of lap traffic.
It might not be a minefield. It might be all right.
Hopefully.
I think we're going to have a change at 2nd.
David Tooker looking to the inside.
Yeah, if these guys start racing for 2nd, it's, yeah, they're losing time. Like,
as you can see now, RC Anderson entering that group of lap traffic, beginning with Michael Hossack in the 20th position.
and he is on the lead lap, so he does have a reason to want to fight.
Absolutely, these guys are battling for the they will be battling for the lucky dog as he goes by Hossack. Next up, I believe, is Richard Hines, and then Justin Vandermeerl. So things are gonna get interesting because these guys do not want to lose that position.
This is where you're hoping you haven't made anybody mad. This is where you're hoping, you know, the friendships that you have on here, you know, are like, hey, I've been nice to everybody, so I, you know, in these positions, they'll just move out of my way. But in my opinion, here coming to 9 to go, without a yellow, RC's got it won. These guys, he is working way better than Kwame. I think Tooker's a little better than Kwame, but he can't make the pass. And even if he could, the time lost would make it where they wouldn't get there anyway. The 42 goes up and hits the wall.
Yeah, Michael Hossack shooting sparks from that outside wall as the second and third place cars do go by him here. 9 laps to go at Homestead. RC Anderson continues to lead as we have a little bit of a battle there for the 13th position, trading spots side by side here multiple times between Ethan Burrell and David Westergreen. Those guys doing a nice job back there, but back up front is all RC.
Yeah, and it looks like RC gets a little loose, but I mean he's opened up the gap quite a bit.
He's coming up on Justin Vandermeerl. Justin running 18th at this point.
It was 5 laps ago. It was a half a second. Now it's between a second and a second and a half.
These two battling side by side rather hard once again, though, Chris. Got Crump Tate Lytle. David Shieldhouse now joining that battle as well.
Yeah, I'm wondering when Scott is going to reach his breaking point here. Or not Scott, Tate. You know, Tate feels wronged by the 90 a couple different times tonight, and that 90's racing him pretty hard. And who would have thought it at lap 50 if you'd have told me David Shieldhouse would be getting ready to move into P4 after the struggle that was the start of the race.
Yeah, I would have thought you were crazy if you told me that. It definitely did not seem too likely. RC Anderson, by the way, just took 6 laps to go. So we are coming down to the end of this thing. Shieldhouse now to the inside of Crump, and Tate Lytle's going to come with him.
Oh, Scott's going to try to come down there.
Tate's not going to give him the spot, that's for sure.
Man, oh man. Scott's going to get clear, but I don't know if I'd turn into turn 3 if I'm Scott Crump.
Ooh, Tate got a little loose there. I don't know if you saw that, Chris.
I'm going to tell you this. Tate is taking really, really good care of Scott Crump.
A big thing I know about Tate being his teammate is he knows that his teammate, RC Anderson, is currently the race leader. And I think he's going to do whatever he can to try to avoid bringing out any sort of caution or risking that as well. Plus, Tate just tends to race with a bit more respect than some guys do. And I think he's not really looking for any sort of impact with Scott. But I do say that, and you never know, he could come up and just wipe him out.
Tell you what, that'd be a story, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Yes, we are 4 laps to go here at Homestead. RC Anderson continues to lead over Kwame Scott. David Tooker right behind him. That's David Shieldhouse in 4th. What a bounce back for him. And Scott Crump Tate Lytle right here. Latham Joyner, Trevor Elam, Garrison Hogan, and Tyler Fody, the top 10.
Yeah, RC's walking away with it. You know, without a caution, I would say RC's got it. We got a good battle for 2nd, and we got a good battle for 5th. I am really just... Scott's going to look to the inside, or Tate's looking to the inside of Scott once again. Gets loose once again, trying to... I think he's better. He just cannot get the drive off where he needs it. You see Tate beat him all the way to the corner. Just beat him, rolling. His roll speed's better. It's just a little too loose coming up off the corner. But this is as close as he's been. They head down into turn 1. You're going to see the roll speed be better for Tate. Better turn right here. Just a little bit too free. Whoa, really sideways there for Tate. The white flag is in the air for RC as they come off of turn 4.
RC Anderson takes the wide, as you mentioned, Chris. Just a little bit behind him. A second and a half is Kwame Scott, with David Tooker right behind him. They go by the lap car of Justin Vandermeerl. Vandermeerl having one of his best nights of the season up in 18th. He is the first car on one lap down at this point, but looks like RC is about to take victory once again in the Mrs. Goody's Goodies Grand National Series.
Yeah, RC is going to come off of turn 4. He's going to see the checkered flag. He's going to win the stages and the race, followed by Kwame Scott and
David Tooker, David Shieldhouse.
Scott Crump stays in front of the 2.
Oh, Latham Joyner sliding around.
Yeah, I think he's showing off there.
Yeah.
Josh Adams is going to be 12th. David Westergreen 13th. Goodman, talked about Goodman, 14th.
Absolutely.
Trey Holmes, Ethan Burrell, and Wyatt Nadel that's the top 17.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to quickly shout out Wyatt. You know, he didn't get the opportunity to finish towards the front, but he led a handful of laps tonight, probably for the first time this season, and definitely a race to be proud of for him. But Chris, as we wait to get our top 3 finishers in for an interview, why don't you go ahead and just touch on our premier partners once again?
Yeah, this was the Mrs. Goodies Grand National Series race live from Homestead. Mrs. Goodies has hooded towels, handmade items for babies, kids, you, and your home, and you can look them up on Facebook today. TA Services, over 36 years, they have been a trusted domestic and international full-service third-party logistics provider offering freight brokerage, managed transportation, warehousing, fulfillment, and cross-border logistics services to shippers around the globe. And Blue Egg Marketing, small business owners, Blue Egg is your biggest fan. And Brixi Cam. Brixi is a venture-backed tech company based in Toronto and Boston, and they are on a mission to reimagine the group photo experience. And of course, Chad and everybody here at Elite Racing Network, from Dave on down. None of this happens without all of our great partners. Chad Frankenfield, yourself, Robert, Dave. Like, it takes a lot to get these races going, and a lot of time Chad puts in, and these sponsors are the biggest asset to the league. So we enjoy every sponsorship.
Absolutely. We could never do this without our great partners. And Chris, you know, we do have a couple of we actually have all of the top 3 ready to have a chat here. So why don't we go ahead and bring in our 3rd place finisher, David Tooker.
All right, we are now joined by David Tooker. David, another podium finish up here tonight at Homestead. It looked like you had maybe a little better car at the end than Kwame, but the battle was obviously for second. Nobody it seemed like was catching RC. So take us through your night and how you ended up where you ended up.
Yeah, it just a really solid race. You know, this is kind of what we wanted. A green flag run. We haven't really seen that this year, and to do it with a green flag stop, even all the way to the end, you can't ask for much better than that. So, but you know, we started off good. Didn't really qualify too well, which I felt like set us back quite a bit. But you know what, we got lucky with a long run, which I felt that was my best strength, was the long run pace, and ended up driving from 12th to 4th on the first run. Caution came out and made a gamble to stay out and see if we could hold those guys with fresh tires behind us, and luckily we did. And just the caution fell at the right time, didn't lose too much track position, which really kept us in it. And those restarts, starting with RC, getting linked up on those restarts, getting out ahead, which was the best thing for us. And it came down to us 3, RC, me, and Kwame, and unfortunately RC just got away a little bit with some lap traffic, but nonetheless, it doesn't take away anything from the battle for second. Such a fun race, racing with Kwame and RC all night long. Kwame raced me super clean, and that's just how he is. He's a guy that races with a lot of respect, and I like to do the same, and we were able to put on a show, hopefully for you guys, but happy with the podium.
Yeah, absolutely, David. And you touched on a little bit how this week seems to have been a better overall race than a couple previous events we've had where they've just been full of cautions. What do you think was the big difference tonight that kind of cleaned it up a little bit and helped put on a better show for everybody?
Robert, I think it's a mixture of a lot of things. I think just this racetrack's so wide. There's a lot of lanes to choose from. And the car was ill handling. You know, to start the day, the car was pretty loose, coming up off exit, so you were having to race your car more than someone else for most of the run. But I honestly I think it was a mixture of just having the right amount of patience. I feel like most of our crashes that we've had this year have been off restarts, and if we were able to get through the first 3 or 4 laps without a caution, you know, we would sail all the way to the end like we did tonight with the green flag stop. Unfortunately, we had an issue on one of the restarts, but we kept it relatively clean tonight, and obviously we can't expect us to be perfect. It's unrealistic. We're gonna have cautions, but I think tonight was a good example of what we can do as a group and what we can achieve. And I think it was just a mixture of the track combo and just everybody being patient. We're racing the car. We're not racing anybody else. This car was definitely not the easiest to drive, so I'm glad everybody was able to keep it together like they did.
Yeah, and I'll let you get to your sponsors and anybody you want to thank and shout out here too. So hit that up here. But I'm going to also ask, do you think that it being full distance led to people being a little bit more patient?
Absolutely. With these long distance races, we're here for hours, regardless if it runs green or not. We're here for multiple hours out of our evenings. So I think everybody kind of sat down with themselves and said, you know what, I don't want to be stuck here for another extra hour or extra 45 minutes, whatever the number is going to be. We don't want to be here any longer than we have to. I think everybody realized that and wanted to race, just get it to the end. Nobody you all can agree nobody wants to be here for 3+ hours just pacing around under caution. We all love to race. That's what we're here to do, and luckily we were able to do that tonight.
And your shout outs?
Oh, yes. I want to give a huge shout out to everybody at the Pro Edge Racing team. We were able to get a dub in third place. A couple close friends, Tate Lytle picking up 6, Garrison, Trevor, Trey and Ethan. Ethan made his first start in a while, and it was cool to see him back behind the wheel. He started up front, and it was nice to race him again because we don't really get to race him too often with his work schedule, and I don't really race trucks, so getting to race him like we did tonight, that was very fun. Really looked forward to it all night long because I knew he was practicing all day long for this race, so I was happy to see him that he was going to run. So I want to give a huge shout out to everybody, like I said, Pro Edge Racing team. All of our sponsors, Blue Egg Marketing, TA Services, Brixi, KMP Designs, so many other people that do what they do to make this run as well as it does, to give us opportunities to earn money from this. We don't all have to earn money from this. That's part of the pleasure of doing it and getting to race. So I want to give a huge shout out to all of our partners. Also JD Designs. He hooked me up with these beautiful paint schemes that I've been running the past year or so. So huge shout out to him, and a big fan of his work. Everybody at Elite, there's so many names that I'm gonna miss, but just the big one being Chad. He's the leader of this whole organization, and he gets a lot of talk back from it, and never can satisfy everyone, but he does a good job. And also want to thank you guys for up in the booth for what you're doing for us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and tell you here before you leave too. At the start of the new streak tonight, that's one race in a row now, where all of your teammates have been able to keep their wheels on the ground.
Yes, that's what we like to see, Chris. Yes, that's what we want.
Thanks, Tooker. Good luck, and come back and see us next week. Good luck on Wednesday as well.
All right, thank you, boys. You too.
That was David Tooker, our third place finisher. And next up, we do have our runner up of the evening, Mr. Kwame Scott.
Yeah, we are now joined by Kwame Scott. Kwame, it looked like you had something for us, see a little bit there, and then Then it ended up being a battle for second. Take us through your night and maybe what you needed to go catch RC.
Man, we were all just so equally like paced up there. It was gonna be tough. If I was gonna make a move around RC, it had to be earlier on in the run on fresher tires because you really can't. There's no room for error once you get longer into that run because the minute you try to get on the gas, it's just gonna snap. So it's really just like a balancing act just that whole time, So none of us could really push and try to make a move, but yeah, that was a fantastic race. I mean, kudos to all those guys. I had a really good battle with Took It there at the end. But yeah, I had something. I definitely did have something, but at that it was gonna be I needed God himself to take the wheel or something because it was gonna be tough.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw you start really far back in this one, Kwame. You gained 38 spots, by far the biggest mover of the race. Next closest was Garrison Hogan, plus 31 spots. But, um, what was your mindset coming into this thing, knowing that you had to work your way up from so far back to try to get up here to the front to have a chance to compete?
Yeah, I missed qualifying on accident. It wasn't the intention. I had something to do before, and I just wasn't able to get a lap in time. And so I figured if I was going to start at the back, no point in it's Homestead as well. So no point in driving my tires off, from lap 2. Might as well just cruise around the back and slowly but surely make my way up front. And yeah, I think by the end of that run, I was like up to like inside the top 20 somewhere. Just me and Garrison were just like driving through the field, just like cruising through it. That was fun. But yeah, I knew I had to be patient because it's a long race, and if there was any race where that would have been possible, it was definitely gonna be this one, being that it was a full length race.
All right, and before we let you go, any sponsors you want to thank, shout you want to give, and a real quick question here: who's your favorite teammate you've ever had in the league?
I don't have any teammates, at least in this.
In all your leagues ever on iRacing.
My favorite teammate.
It's taking you a long time to answer this.
I like all you guys equally, but for the sake of the broadcast, I'll just say you, Chris. Does that make you happy?
No, I feel like I had to force it out of you.
Yeah, no, Chris is my favorite teammate. You've heard it from me.
All right, any shout outs and sponsors you want to thank?
Yeah, Nexus 213. I guess I gotta shout out Chris, my teammates and the my Erskine teammates actually. RRM. All my friends watching the broadcast. Yeah.
Well, all right, Kwame, nice run tonight. Good luck Wednesday, and come back and talk to us again after the race next Monday.
Yeah, that's the plan. But we'll see.
In our final interview here this evening, Chris, after talking to Kwame Scott there, is once again race winner RC Anderson.
All right, we're joined by the guy who won. It feels like, RC, you've been coming up here and talking to us quite a bit this season. What's your secret to being able to win these races?
I don't know, man. I thought I was going to really struggle on this one. I mean, I was really quick in practice. I knew I had the pace, and I just botched the qualifying run. I really botched it. I think I qualified 11th or 12th. I got a big oversteer out of 2. And I was like, man, this is the only shot. I got to finish the lap. But yeah, starting further back, and it's a long race. Tire saving was going to be massive. There's a variety of lines you could run, so it's just going to be kind of a luck of the draw. But I was able to save tire a lot, and when the setup's as knife edge as it was with the rear, it definitely wasn't a setup that burned the right front. It was definitely manage your right rear, which is a little bit more of a road course tactic. I feel like where it suits me more, where you're just managing the rear and trying not to slide the car, versus saving the right front. I think that just suits my driving style more. I think that's the only reason I was at the front today.
Yeah, absolutely. And RC, you did mention the issues with the right rear on this setup. Would you say that was the biggest challenge to deal with tonight, or would it potentially be lap traffic or some other factor that really hindered the evening as well.
Oh no, it's definitely Kwame and Tooker. That was the toughest part. I was like, I don't know how much I need to save, especially that second half of the race. Is like, if I save tire, they're really on me and they could possibly get by me. If I push, I'm gonna burn my tire, but I can keep them behind me. So it's like playing in between those two things, just trying to save a bit of tire, but also stay out front. And I think we had good pit stops, didn't miss the box. Weren't speeding on pit lane, and I think we just came together with just good decision making, not necessarily just sheer pace. I think there's 4 or 5 guys out there right now that had the pace to win. I just think I was able to maximize the tire saving on the first stint the most. That put me in the position up front, and then I was just pretty much dead even. And the second the track temperature started to cool too, everybody got really really close. I think with that hotter track temperature at the beginning of the race, I was able to maximize a lot of that um, with the car sliding around, so I was able to save a lot of tire. But the second it cooled down, they all caught up on pace. But it was a really really good race. Those are the kind of races I really really enjoy. I think I was talking with Kwame and Tooker too. It's like those are the mile and a half races we know for elite, where it's like 90-95% green, and it's really good racing with the setups.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun race to watch. We had lots of lots of green flag stops, and just a couple yellows there in the middle. Any sponsors you want to thank, shout outs you want to give before you have to get out of here?
Yeah, of course, Rayco Machine and Engineering Group. They're on every single one of my cars. I think this is I'm hoping this is going to just be more and more repetitive throughout the year that I get to shout them out. Of course, you guys here up in the booth. I'd say it every single time. I love to watch these replays, and you guys do an awesome job. And then obviously Chad, who runs the league. I mean, there's so many different leagues within the elite league, and it's a lot of fun. I try to race as many as I can, and I'll be coming back as long as I'm in town. And I'll probably see you guys on Wednesday. Hopefully.
All right, RC. Yeah, good luck on Wednesday, and come back and talk to us next week when we are at Iowa. And another thing here, 3 races left in the playoffs. Are you looking ahead to the playoffs yet, or are you still just trying to win every race?
I mean, I think I'm always looking at the playoffs. Sometimes I just never know which races I'm gonna miss. I mean, we could get midway through the playoffs and I miss a race because I'm out of town. So I need to maximize everything I can. So I think race wins is a huge goal for me, especially in the Cup and the Xfinity Series. Trucks isn't exactly on my highest priority list, especially because it's a Sunday. That's like a good day off, and that's the day I'm normally gone because of all the racing. But the Monday and Wednesday league, the Xfinity and Cup, I'm definitely going to be pushing to try to get the championship on these. I mean, I've been so close every year, been fast, been in position for it, and then I end up out of town and I can't fight for it. And so I'm hoping I can bring at least one championship back. I don't care which it is, Trucks, Xfinity, or Cup. I just want to bring one championship in for the 2022 B.
Well, all right, RC. Good luck. We'll let you get out of here and go win a couple more here before the playoffs even get started.
Oh, I'll do my best. Thanks, guys.
Well, all right, Robert. We saw a pretty clean race. We saw a couple wrecks there in the middle, but for the most part, it was clean. Good race at Homestead. Very straightforward. We're off to Iowa. Any final thoughts before we head out of here?
Yeah, Chris, that was a good race. Nice bounce back from previous weeks where we have had a lot more cautions and whatnot than we really wanted to see. So definitely nice to see a fairly clean one. Obviously, some great battles throughout. R.C. Anderson, Kwame Scott, David Tooker all did a really good job. We saw David Shieldhouse battle back throughout the night. We saw Trevor Elam lead some laps. We saw Wyatt Canado lead some laps, although during pit cycles, but lap led is a lap led. And we saw some guys really work their way through the field. Kwame up 38 spots, Garrison up 31. We had a couple guys up 19 spots, and Michael Goodman and Richard Hines. So it was good to see. And Chris, I'm excited for the next few weeks to see how things go leading up to the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too. I can't wait to see it. You can see it all right here live on the Elite Racing Network every Monday night. So on behalf of me and everybody else here, Robert, myself, Elite Racing Network, everybody here at the Mrs. Goodies Grand National Series, all our wonderful sponsors, Mrs. Goodies, TA Services, Blue Egg Marketing, and Brixi Cam, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week live from Iowa.